Do not adjust your radio dial. You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday night. Oh, it's Blood and Guts night. I'm sure everybody's excited at that. Yep, crowd's loving it. Oh, man. We are back again. You're on the Mark Order Podcast, part of the Shining Wizards Network. Hanging out. I got Ryan here.
Hello.
I got Asian Joe here. You're muted. I can't unmute you.
I'm here again for some reason.
Asian Joe's back. Asian Joe, you're back
again.
You started this with us last week. You started Blood and Guts. And you're, by God, going to finish it. You're not going to pull a Takeshita or a pack and walk out on us. We'll talk about it later. But you're definitely not. For those people in the chat saying, Asian Joe, Kate Heat continues. Thank you, Kyle K. Sparks. Gordon Post, no Kate again. Kate will be here. Her dog has the shits. That's not a lie.
But
so
can we coexist?
You guys will coexist. We'll find a way for everybody to be happy and love each other. We'll ELE. Everybody love everybody. Just like Jackie Moon said. Also, Kyle K. Sparks, good to see your sister Kayla get some TV time tonight. We'll talk about that. So what's going on, everybody? Ryan, how you doing?
Doing not too shabby. How are you doing, AntMoney?
Doing not too shabby as well. Joe, how you doing?
Can't complain. I'm kind of in the situation you were in last week where we were moving offices, but instead of across town or to a different city, we're just moving up to a different floor. So
I'd rather have that. Now, I'll say this. I haven't officially moved offices yet. I will officially make the jump on August 1st. But I did a run to that office today because I wanted to see how the commute was. Not a bad commute. I cut it down from 2 hours to 1 hour, so that's fantastic. But it's hard going from the West Village in New York City to Newark, New Jersey. It's a tough run.
Why?
Why is it tough?
Yeah, why?
Oh, let me think. The city that never sleeps to Brick City.
Great city.
Newark? You're thinking of Newark, Delaware.
Newark. And I'm thinking Newark.
Well, I'll say this, Ryan. I am directly across the street from the Prudential Center. So that'll be great if and when the time comes and I have to go to something in that arena during the week, because I can just walk across the street. But it doesn't help me right now. Doesn't help.
Why?
It also,
Why?
because it just sucks. So here's the thing. I'm like the only person in my group who's there for pretty much ever. So, you know, I don't know why I'm going to Newark, but I am. So,
Forever.
yeah.
Hold on. I got to say this.
Oh, God.
No. Scott, George, could be worse. You could be in Trenton. There's really not much of a difference.
No, there's not. There isn't. I mean, I could be in Camden. It's all sort of the same.
No, I think actually that is a discernible downgrade even.
I don't know. Newark is not great. You remember, Ryan, how every 10 years you'll hear about they're trying to, rebuild Newark. It's a resurgence. There's a reason you hear it every 10 years.
Yeah. You remember how Camden continues to stay on the top 3 most dangerous cities in the United States?
Well, that's not true. I keep hearing about how they redid the police department. Everything's great now. You can walk around, leave your doors unlocked.
I knew some Camden police officers, and they were fine fellows. But, yeah, no.
No, I know. But I will also say
New Jersey Talk with the Mark Order podcast.
Well, this will be the last thing I say. What is sort of depressing is I went from the old office I was in, Joe. We had like the back of my desk was like, cushioned. You could put pins in it. You could sort of stick stuff up to personalize it. I had a lot of magnetized surfaces, so I could put magnets up, and I had desk space so I could put some pictures of my family. There is none of that in this new space. The back wall is just a sheetrock painted wall. I can't stick any pins in there. I have no magnetized surfaces, and the only storage I have is a little, basically like a bread box. So all the shit that I'm shipping over to this office, I think I'm going to have to bring home because I don't have room for it.
Now, do you have your own office over there?
No,
Okay.
I'm not on that level just yet. I'm still sitting with the regular guys out on
So
the
you're like
floor.
middle management money.
That is exactly what I am. Middle management associate director money.
Mm-hmm. We got moved to. I'm in a cubicle, and like the taller ones, and now the new ones I'm going to are like the little 3-foot ones. So like my head pops out, my head's above the wall, and yeah, that's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, that was a culture shock the first time I experienced that, going from tall cubicle walls to basically no walls, like just the wall in front of me.
All cubicle walls should be tall.
Yeah.
It's a sin when they're not.
Well, especially when I have a job where I'm on the phone like almost all day. So I feel like I'm just constantly talking in other people's ear.
Yeah,
Stupid.
that's just...
Anyway, it is what it is. But like I said, the nice thing is my commute's only an hour now. So I used to get up and leave my house at 7 a.m. I left my house at 7:30 to get an 8 o'clock train. And I was in the office at 9:05. It was awesome. And I got home at 6:30, 6:45 tonight. And I used to not get home till 7:30. And I would leave the city at 5 o'clock. So big time upgrade there. So it is what it is. Eric Freed said prior to this, why is my thing not working? Prior to this podcast, I always thought in Jersey, all you did was listen to Bon Jovi and Springsteen and watch Kevin Smith movies. I'm going to blow your mind, Eric Freeds. I dislike Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen very much. And I will deal with a certain select bit of Kevin Smith movies.
I enjoy all but the horror Kevin Smith movies. I don't like when he tried to make somebody a walrus. I'm not a Bon Jovi fan, but not a hater. Not a fan of Springsteen.
That's because you have to like him because of the Philadelphia Soul. Isn't he an owner?
Do they still exist?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
The Philadelphia Soul. What was that? Indoor football?
The indoor football. It was Arena Football League.
Arena football. There it is. Maybe he'll own part of an XFL team, so he'll still be in it.
Him and The Rock.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joe, you're moving offices too. Ryan, you're not moving anything.
Nope, just my body.
Oh. Saturday, Ryan, you're moving up north, right? We're going to Collision in Newark.
Apparently, we are going to Newark.
We're going in and out. You don't have to spend 8 hours of your day there.
No. Unless Collision is very, very long, and then we will be spending 8 hours there.
It shan't be. I mean, they're going to tape some of Ring of Honor, right? They're going to have to.
It'll probably be 3 hours, right?
Yeah. I think it says it starts at 7 and it goes until 10. Unless they're taping something afterward, it'll go to 11.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
What are you looking at, Ryan? You look like you're...
I'm just seeing how far. I always forget how long of a drive it is to go to Newark from me.
You've committed. You're in.
Well, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I go to you first, and you're past Newark.
No, you don't have to go to me.
Well, I don't know how to get there.
Why don't you go to Kate's? Kate's not coming here.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
Go to Kate, make Kate drive you, or take the train, or do whatever she's.
Or she might know where to park at least. I don't. Not that I don't know how to get to Newark. Newark, I know how to get to. I've never had to really park over at the Prudential.
There's a ton of lots right there. There's actually, it's really easy. There's parking right across the street. There's a couple garages right there. You can park where I work. There's a deck right there.
I'll go with Kate. She just doesn't know that yet.
No, you'll just crash that party. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then we'll be sure that you guys will show up, hopefully, because you'll want to be there. You don't want to be there. He's just committed. He's pot committed. Joe, you want to fly in for Collision?
It's more likely I'll be there than Ryan.
That's true. Sounds like it. And it's a short train ride to Newark from the airport.
Well, there you go.
You fly in Thursday. You can go to Trenton too.
Wow. You're flying in?
Me?
Oh no! You said you could fly in. Sorry, I was like, I missed.
You could fly in Thursday and go to Death Before Dishonor in Trenton, which none of us are going to.
Nobody wanted to go. I asked everybody.
I can't go. I can't. I got shit to do on Friday. If I'm going to commit to Newark on Saturday, no, I'm just saying. Like, plus, it's Trenton.
I mean, no lie, but
and it's Death Before Dishonor, which wasn't booked till 1 a.m. this past week.
Well, there were definitely some things that happened with Death Before Dishonor that caused it to book really late. But they do put on good pay-per-views. So here's hoping.
They do. It's just annoying.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I got nothing else to talk about. I was trying to burn some time because somebody's dog has the shits, but I'm not going to burn more time. We'll just
she'll join when she joins. Then she'll take over the show wanting to talk about Eddie Kingston in the G1 or
it's in news and notes. I had it.
I mean, I could go into detail about the Runza on my hat.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, Joe. See how quickly I forgot. So, Joe, prior to us starting, we were chatting, and I said, "Is that a burrito?" And you said, "No, it's an Arunza."
Arunza, yes, Runza.
Oh, okay.
What is a Runza?
What is a Runza? It's known by many things across the country in certain areas, but in the Midwest, it's a pocket of bread stuffed with seasoned meat, some cabbage, little onion, and just kind of cooked inside this little bun of a piece of bread, and it's just a little.
Sounds like a hot pocket.
Kind of
hot pockets.
Sounds great.
But yeah, it's they make original Runza, cheese, Swiss and mushroom, all sorts of kinds of Runzas.
And it's just the Midwest thing you're telling me.
Yeah, it's mostly like Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa.
I've never heard of it.
I was gonna say, what, like, if you had to say, like, it's this cuisine, is it like an American thing, or is it like some sort of like Nebraska, like, I mean, Mexican food?
Sure, it came from some European family ancestors who came and settled in the Midwest and decided to, bake meat into bread. It seems very like Bohemian or no, I don't know, Austrian or German or something like that.
Listen, all I know is that I would definitely eat one, and I would eat a straight up original to get the real deal, and then I would work from there. I'd be like, okay, I had the original. Let's try a mushroom Swiss, even though I'm not a big mushroom. Let's do a mushroom Swiss. Let's try some of these other variants. But I would definitely try the OG one first. It sounds delightful. Ryan, do you get down with that? Would you get down with a Runza?
I'd eat it.
What if it gave you the, as you said, Runzas?
The Runzas? I mean, as long as I'm by a bathroom, I'd still eat it.
Okay.
I mean, it is a fast food restaurant, so it's,
Oh, it's a fast food item.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like something that like a pizzeria would make.
No, it's not a calzone.
Well, no, but you know how like you can go to any pizzeria and get like a cheesesteak sandwich. Well, maybe not, but like here, like any mom and pop pizza shop, you would go into and you can get like a cheesesteak or like whatever. Like I thought maybe it was something like that. Like, oh yeah, it's something like you walk into any like I don't know, taco joint and they would give you a Runza.
No, but it's strictly a business. Like it's its own franchise restaurant, regional restaurant or fast food chain.
Wow, interesting. Ryan, did you pick up on that? Because I did not.
No, I wouldn't have known that.
All right, well, we're gonna have to take a trip out to Nebraska, check out one of these places. Ryan,
I thought it was a food item that was sold at like local delis.
Right, that's what I thought. So Ryan, this is a chain-ish type thing. Ryan, we gonna franchise this out east? What are you thinking, pal?
Well, you can get the original Runza, the cheese Runza, the Swiss mushroom Runza, the spicy Jack Runza, the Southwest Runza, the cheeseburger Runza, the BBQ bacon Runza, or the mini Runza.
It all sounds good. I mean, it all sounds good. I would try an original. Like it's one of those things. Like if you never been to In-N-Out Burger, right? Like everybody says like get it animal style, get one of the Neapolitan shit. Like yeah, the first time I did In-N-Out, I did all that stuff. And then when I went back, I was like, let's do some other stuff, like things that people don't always tell you to do. So I'm down for it.
Bun on their burgers. Oh man. That's an oddly shaped bun though.
Now would you Asian Joe get a burger at Runza's?
Yeah, their burgers are actually pretty solid. They have good burgers, chicken strips. They have a good Southwest chicken salad.
But look at that. I'm just saying it's a weirdly shaped bun.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
These are the Runzas.
Famous Runza sandwiches. There they are. You know what it looks like? It looks like a fucking hot dog bun.
That does look like a hot dog bun.
It's almost like French bread. Like you hollowed out a loaf of French bread and shoved a bunch of meat inside of it.
Ryan, does it almost, to me, that's a great description, Joe, but Ryan, you'll probably understand this. Ryan, do you ever go to like Seaside to like Steaks Unlimited and they put the cheesesteak in the Italian bread where they basically hollow it out and just shovel it in? That's sort of
so while I've had that, I don't go to Seaside.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do know what you're talking about, yes.
Yeah, you're too far south. You would go to Wildwood.
No, I wouldn't go to Wildwood either. But
that's the Riviera for you Philly trash.
No, I go to nice beaches, but that's okay. You go to your trashy North Jersey beaches. I'll stay to the nice ones.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'll go to Seaside where everyone goes. They fist pump.
I don't go to Seaside to go to the beach. I go to Seaside, if anything, to walk on the boardwalk and people watch. Although this summer,
you're the one who brought it up.
Because that's the only place I've gotten like one of the only place I could think of between you and I that we probably would have been where they have the cheesesteaks served that way. So Joe, there's certain places where it won't be just like a long sub roll with the cheesesteak in it, like split open. There are certain places you could go to around these parts where it's basically like half an Italian loaf. So it's like, a a semicircle of Italian bread and they hollow it fucking out, and then they just shove all the meat and cheese and peppers and onions in there. It's fantastic.
Sounds like one big hot beef injection.
That's
just like when you get a hollowed out thing and you shove some meat in there.
Why not? Ryan likes the Italian dog, the double, because they put 2 dogs in 1 bun. Ryan says it's natural. That's right.
Sometimes I don't even need the bun. Just give me 2 dogs poking at each other.
Sometimes he doesn't even use his mouth to eat it. That's what he told me.
No, I use my mouth. I just don't chew.
Well, you take it both ways, is from what I've heard then.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to disclose my skills.
Well, man, that's fantastic, Joe. So it's just, you're saying, like, pretty much in Nebraska area?
Yeah, kind of the region, kind of the neighboring states.
I got to find a reason to go to Nebraska.
I can
come
them.
to you.
There is no reason to go to Nebraska.
Really? You're going to say that to Asian Joe?
We have the College World Series.
I would go to the College World Series.
My statement remains solid.
Joe, you'll never get that out of me. Ryan's trying to be a heel. But...
Joe, are you really trying to convince me that Nebraska is a place to visit?
Sounds better than North Jersey.
Listen, now that's a dig at me. And I said I'd go.
I'm South Jersey, baby. I'm sorry. You go to New Jersey and all you can do is go to New York City, go to Philly, go down to Baltimore, DC. I'm sorry, the beach. I'm sorry that we have everything.
Let's be honest. Nobody wants to go to Philly. If you're going to be here, you're going to go.
You're so full of shit. It's unbelievable.
I've never been to Philly.
There's no reason. I know
you made a bad call. You made a bad. Oh, I'm sorry. It only founded our nation.
Joe, my statement stands. There's no reason to go to Philadelphia.
That's fair.
No reason. You can get a primo hoagie anywhere now. So
you can go.
They're opening one down the street. Primo hoagies. Get my hoagie with a water, maybe a soft pretzel.
Hey, yo, what you doing here? I'm from New Jersey, but I'm gonna sound like I'm from New York.
I don't know what accent that is.
That's your New York accent.
I don't know. Joe, do you know what that is?
I'm not going to touch that one.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to come out to Nebraska, Joe. That's put it on my list. The Runza has put me over.
I was going to say, you can't order them, but they're a little pricey to...
What, Gold Belly and shit like that?
Well, I mean, they have to use dry ice and all that stuff, so it's a little pricey to ship them out there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even stuff that's closer, I don't really pull the trigger with like Gold Belly or even like if you want ice cream, Penn State has their own creamery. If you want ice cream from there, they'll ship it packed in dry ice, but it's expensive as shit. I won't even pull the trigger on that.
It's not worth it.
It's not. I will, however, say this. One Christmas at work, one of my salespeople sent me over. We were talking about a place in New Jersey that is one of the 2 places that said they created the New Jersey Sloppy Joe. Right, Schlong, you know what the Sloppy Joe is?
I don't think I've had it, but I've heard of it.
Okay. Joe, you may not know. In New Jersey, the Sloppy Joe, or in this area, not just New Jersey, but like New York, New Jersey, the Sloppy Joe is not always the traditional, ground beef in red sauce on a bun. Here they have basically a cold version of that sandwich, but it's almost like a triple decker sandwich without the piece of bread in the middle. So it's like ham, turkey. You can even get some, I think, with roast beef, coleslaw, and Russian dressing. And usually it's on like a rye bread. I love it. I fucking love a good Sloppy Joe. And there are 2 places here that say that they were the creators of that sandwich. I prefer one over the other, but I would never turn the other one down. And me and one of my salespeople who's also from New Jersey were talking about it. And for Christmas one year, he sent me, even though I could probably take a 15-minute drive, he shipped me 2 Sloppy Joes, 2 bottles of iced tea and a bag of chips, like from the place. I'll say this. Everything got here fantastic. Like when they get it right, they know how to do it right, but that couldn't have been a cheap goddamn gift.
At least it traveled well. But my question is, if it's that much of a deviation from a sloppy Joe, then do you call it something else? Do you call it like a sloppy, like Gerard, a sloppy Nick, a sloppy whatever?
Well, I'll say this: if you go somewhere here and order a sloppy Joe, that's what you're ordering. You're ordering the cold sandwich. You're not ordering a hot sandwich. The meat within the red sauce. That's not what it is here.
Who would go somewhere and order a normal sloppy Joe anyway?
I made them extra sloppy for you.
Just how you like them.
All right, I'm glad people get these references. Oh,
I was gonna go to school today, but I want to stay home and help you shave your armpits.
Oh, gross! I'll go to school. Question. Well, there's a couple things I have to address here. Philly has the best cheesesteak sandwiches ever. I mean, debatable.
Yes. No, it's not even debatable.
It's
but
debatable. Sloan says, is New Jersey a glorified suburb like Connecticut? No, not at all.
Yes, 100%.
Nope.
100%.
A lot of people actually, Sloan, from New York City transition out to New Jersey. And
so it acts as a giant suburb to New York City and Philadelphia. Got it. Like they described.
We have our own cities and things like that.
Yeah, we talked very highly about those cities.
You named two. You named Trenton, Camden.
The biggest two cities. The biggest three cities.
There are other cities in the state.
Jersey City, 4. Sorry. And even Jersey City's not great.
No, neither is Patterson.
Yeah, my point stands.
Oh, like New York City has every area is wonderful. New York City,
New York City sucks, but we can continue.
So Philly. Sloan also saying, Ryan, have you ever had an Italian beef from Chicago? Are we
talking about the meal?
I was just gonna say, Ryan. I'm gonna say probably Sloan. The answer would be no to the sandwich, yes to the mister.
I'm not gonna answer the second, but I have not been to Chicago, so I have not had the sandwich.
Mm-hmm. I heard about some of your exploits on the Jericho cruise with your cabin beef boys.
It's Sloan White, Atlantic City. I don't think that classifies as a city.
No. I don't know if I'd actually qualify. I don't know if I'd classify any major city that's based around gambling as a city.
Except like Vegas.
Well, but even Vegas, like how many people are from Vegas?
Yeah, but like imagine how that struggles with Vegas and then cut it into like a tenth of that size. And that's Atlantic City.
Oh yeah, I don't debate that, but think about all the gambling cities that are out there. Atlantic City, Vegas, Reno, if you want to count Reno with it too. Dude, it's dicey in a lot of places like that. Eric Freeds wants to know, is Asbury Park a city? Yes, it is, but it is not a good one.
I wouldn't even classify that as a city.
It's not a metro area, but it's a city.
I guess by some definitions.
It has its own municipality, right? It's a city. Oh my God. See, Asian
township or a borough.
A borough. Well, this has been Geography Talk with the Mark Order podcast.
We killed enough time. Kate's not coming. Let's talk about Rampage.
Well, we're not going to talk about Rampage because, well, there's no reason to talk about Rampage.
Nope.
Because there was a lot to talk about for Saturday night's wrestling. I want to start with the good and then we can move into the bad. Because
what was the bad?
Did you watch an hour show called Battle of the Belts?
I mean, it depends on your definition. It was quality wrestling.
We'll get there. Don't get too far ahead. We'll get there. I would say the good show was the first 2 hours, and it was called Collision. And it was certainly Championship Saturday night. We're not going to go through every single thing.
You and I collide. Sorry.
God. I want to talk about the matches, and we have to start with obviously the opener to the show. The three of us weren't sure where they were going to put this match. We probably should have saw it coming first right out of the gate. but it would have been awesome if they did do something like cross this over between shows. It certainly could have done that. However, they open up Collision with the Tag Team Championship 2 out of 3 falls match, FTR versus Bullet Club Gold. Now, we all know at this point, FTR did come out victorious, winning 2 falls to 1. But it went 58 minutes, I think they said. 58 minutes. It took the whole first hour. They did do the time queue with 5 minutes left to go. So part of me was like, oh my God, are they going to let this go to a time limit draw? But they did not. FTR winds up coming out of this victorious. But guys, I would certainly say, if anybody out there has any doubts about FTR anymore, I don't know what more you need to see out of FTR to consider that they're one of the best tag teams on the planet right now and ever, in my opinion. This match was fucking fantastic. No outside interference from Bullet Club Gold. It was a straight up 2-on-2 match. And I thought Bullet Club Gold came out of this looking really great too. Another, in my opinion, another match that shows you, if you for some reason still couldn't see how good a wrestler Rock Hard Juice Robinson is. Like, I don't know what more you need to see. Like, this match to me was a 10 out of 10 match of the year candidate. I honestly don't know what else to say about it. I thought this was phenomenal start to finish. Joe, you're our guest. Why don't you talk about this one first? What did you think?
I don't know if I had any expectations of the matches between FTR and Bullet Club Gold, but the chemistry between the two teams and being able to pull off, the 2 out of 3 fall plus the match they had before, and to still keep it fresh and feel exciting. I think that's what really kind of caught me off guard. I felt like this is the first time FTR has had such a great battle with the team since maybe the Briscoes. So it kind of gave me that feeling of like, you kept wanting to see it more, and I could watch these two teams do like a best out of 7 and not be tired of it. So yeah, I was just really impressed with how everything flowed.
I was also very glad, Ryan, I want your thoughts, but I was also very glad we didn't get any outside interference. Like, the guns didn't show up. There was no schmozziness to this. It was a clean match. Obviously, Bullet Club Gold is going to try to pull the wool over some eyes and, cheat where they can. But, no schmoz here. No run-ins, no nothing. I mean, I thought that was great too. Ryan, what did you think?
Bang, bang, bangity bang. Is it a bang, bang, bangity gang? I think everyone knew how good FTR was, to be quite honest. I think as much as people were told, and let me rephrase this, people who aren't New Japan watchers were told how good Jay White was and Rock Hard was. I don't know if they actually believed it as of yet because there are so few chances. You believe it now because they not only held their own, they proved themselves every bit as equal to one of the best tag teams in the world. I don't think the Bang Bang Gang is long for tag. I think they might stay together, but in singles runs. But if they wanted to go tag, oh my God. I actually thought they'd have the belts at times. Like, there were moments in that match where I'm like, it was really going their way, and FTR had a couple of false finishes where I'm like, oh, this is going to Bullet Club Gold. So it was really well laid out. Like you said, I was happy there was no schmozziness. Like, it's okay when the heels in the match try to cheat because that's their job.
Right.
There was no ref bump. There was no outside interference. So it's okay. Like, I'm good with that. And I don't mind when there's outside interference when it's not all the time. But in a 2 out of 3 falls match, you need to have it be clean like this. And we'll get into it tonight, but this is going to be back-to-back I know the next one is kind of short, but it's really setting FTR up for some 2 good stories back-to-back. And they're looking kind of heelish. They did this. They kind of appeared that way in this match with some of what they were doing and the way they were acting. And then tonight, I saw a lot of it too. So getting a feeling we might be seeing a little different side to FTR pretty soon.
Well, they did do the face thing to give them a little credit too. They did the face thing after the match and extended their hands, but the Bullet Club, sort of spit at the ground because we're not spitting in faces anymore. We've got that in post notes. So they still sort of did the face thing, but I agree with you, Ryan. They have been showing a little more of a heel side out of them. And what I'll also agree with you, Ryan, is that I really truly did it at a lot of points in this match think that Bullet Club Gold was going to pull this off. Like, I really thought, holy shit, they're getting the belts off of them. And maybe this is going to give the belt to whoever wins the tag tournament just for some sort of storyline purpose. But, that match, honestly, it could have gone to Bullet Club Gold. FTR wound up winning. Doesn't disappoint me. Like, I was just like, to your point, Joe, you saw the work they did with the Briscoes, and you were like, in my brain, I'm almost like, how can they top that? With anybody else, there was such a chemistry there. This was phenomenal. It felt just like those matches.
They just seem to have chemistry with almost anyone.
I agree. I agree. They seem to be able to get in the ring and do the best work they can with everybody who's in there. And the other thing too is that I think, just speaking about sort of seeing what we felt like we wanted to see out of a lot of guys, I think this is too what a lot of people were sort of hoping to get from Jay White, right? When Jay White came in, there were a lot of people being critical, like, why are we doing this with Jay White? He should be used in a better position. He's got, he's such a big signing, blah, blah, blah. I mean, this was great. This was great work out of Jay White. I mean, I think a lot of people also forget. I think he's like 28, 29 or 30. I think he's 30, right? Kyle K. Sparks is saying, yeah, I see it now. Kyle K. Sparks, Jay White, quietly one of the very best going today. He's only 30. So he's not a guy who's been around forever and is just getting his due now. Like, he has still got time to go. So man, I just thought this was phenomenal all the way around. And you are putting a lot of hope in this match, holding your audience for an hour, and then you still have some Owen Cup finals to get to. And that was the next match of the night, the women's final, Ruby Soho versus Willow Nightingale. And I want to talk about this with you guys because Willow Nightingale defeats Ruby Soho to win the Owen Hart tournament. I think some of us thought, Ryan, we were on this journey the whole time. Joe, we were talking about it last week, and I'm sure you've had some thoughts, but I know, at least Ryan, we were talking about this when they set it up. At first, we thought maybe Sky Blue was going to get pushed to the top of this. And then it seemed like they weren't going to do that. And maybe they were setting up Ruby to sort of avenge her loss from last year because it felt like she should have had it and they gave it to Britt. So maybe they're making right on their wrong. And then Willow beats Athena on Friday and gets in. And I think we're all sort of like, holy shit, what are we going to do here? And Willow wins. Now, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think Ruby is almost doing what she should do, right? And give this to Willow because Willow, yeah, she's over, but this puts more credibility behind Willow in my eyes, right? You give her a belt, she wins a big tournament, and it's high visibility. But it honestly, for me, could have gone either way. And I would have been okay with it. So this is the second match of this card where I'm like, give it to whoever you want. I mean, it's good in my eyes. Joe, did you have a problem with Willow winning this, or were you good?
Yeah, I was fine with it because of the history they have together and the storyline they had for a while. And I think I was in the same camp as you guys, where I thought Ruby was going to win this. And the fact that she lost it, and there wasn't any outcast shenanigans, I thought it kind of an interesting look to have her lose relatively, clean, I guess. But it's good to help build the Willow back up with her win, like over Athena, like you said, and this win, especially after losing the strong title in New Japan. So it's kind of nice to help build her credibility back up in AEW.
So I agree. I mean, I agree with everything you said, Joe. I think that it's good for Willow for sure. Schlong, do you think they got it wrong here? Should it have gone to Ruby, or were you good with Willow?
You go with Willow. Go with Willow winning everything. But one, Ruby can lose, not only because she's an established talent, but actually now is the heel that kind of is getting as much attention and screen time as she is. It matters a little less for her to win this, and the anger and resentment she'll have at losing, I think, will do really well for her character. So I'm okay with it. Plus, Willow seems to be on the rise. I don't know if she was always the planned winner. I could definitely see this being a reaction to. I mean, I know she's lost it now, but when she won the New Japan Strong title, the reaction the audience might have had Tony or whoever stepping back going like, oh, we knew she's over, but she's really, 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 really over. And it helps with set up her match with Athena at ROH. So you get a little like intercompany booking. So it makes sense. And again, I also think like, I don't know what they do. If the one thing I would say, and this is totally not wrestling related, it's very much related to the Owen Hart Foundation or whatever. But if I were Martha and Tony, I'd want my winners to do a little bit more. Maybe they do, and I don't know it, but do a little bit more like promoting, I guess, or whatever for the foundation. And as part of that, I think Willow would be one of the best faces you could have for that. Just how happy and like she is. I'm not to say Ruby's not. That's not a knock on Ruby. It's just so great. Like Willow. Plus, Ruby's a heel, so it's always harder with a heel. But as a face, you just put Willow out there and be like, "Here, go, push this," and people will love it. So,
I thought you were going to talk about Tony's cowboy hat.
I fucking loved it. I loved it so much.
Riccaboni too, with the cowboy hat. Just boy, everybody playing the part up at the Stampede. But yeah, I mean. I'll say this. I didn't again. I agree. I think Ruby didn't need to win. It would have been sort of a nice to have because I really felt like last year they should have given it to her. Like Britt didn't need it, but it sort of legitimized the tournament, right? Like you give it to somebody who's sort of the face of your division, and I guess it legitimizes your tournament. So I'm okay with it. And I think Ryan, too, to your point about sort of capitalizing on, the chatter around Willow is, because she wasn't the plan in New Japan and she was sort of thrust into that spotlight. They definitely use it because they talked so many times about how she was the underdog against Mercedes and nobody thought she was going to beat Mercedes. So that was a fantastic match. Well.
You got me till the next round of Zoomies. How we doing, fellas?
We're doing okay. How are the poopies?
Ferocious.
Oh.
Tyrus-like in shape. I wish it was a shape, actually. That's unfortunate.
Somebody call my mama.
Somebody call my mama. On a big pumpkin and rice diet after eating an entire bag of treats, which included rawhide. And also some of those denties, which if you have had a dog and you have given them more than one in a day, you know that is a stomach irritant. So we don't have to keep talking about dog poop because this episode was not dog poop tonight, but Daphne is full of shit, as it was the drizzling shits, which was what yesterday was in wrestling. So
okay, well, not tonight.
Sidebar: I know you guys already did like fun intro-y things, and I'm coming in late, but today was National Hot Dog Day.
Yes, it was.
A friend of the show, LSG, had the nerve to remind me of the first day we ever hang out with that fella.
Yep.
Oh,
wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't mean to cut you off. You said who?
Friend of the show and 0-6 AEW star LSG.
Oh, that's right. Okay, now I remember. That's right.
Yeah. You might remember him from Yeah. You might remember him from losing not once, not
Mhm.
twice, not
Mhm.
3 times,
4?
not 4 times. No.
Okay.
Not even one hand's worth. 6 times.
Okay.
But it did make me really happy because I brought up the selfie that we took at that game, and I was like, A, what a fun memory, and B, Ant, like, you look like a different person. It's wild, the transformation.
Yeah, what's funny is I didn't say it here because I don't know anything about it, but I talked to
Tony
crap.
Nese.
No, I haven't. Bad thing is I haven't talked to Tony Nese in a while. I really
Sir.
when
You
I went
ghosted
back
him?
I kind of did. He's still taking my money, but I've ghosted him.
Because of Gina. Got
No,
weird.
just I went back to working in the city and my schedule completely fucking blew. So it just threw everything off.
I
No,
wonder if he's using the money you're giving him to take Gina out to dinner.
That's
definitely
probably it.
not. Definitely not. No, I talked to Tom Talks Rubbish like you guys did. I don't know if Kate, yours came out. Ryan, yours didn't come out yet?
Not yet.
So for those who don't know, Kate, myself, and Ryan all talked to Tom Talks Rubbish. And Kate's came out. Ryan and mine are still in the queue. They'll be out at some point. We'll let you guys know when those are coming. But Kate, part of that is he asked some questions and then he asked me to send some screenshots. And I went back in time to like some of our old shows and not too far. And yeah, I was like, who is that fatty? And I'm still not like a skinny mini, but I was like, holy moly. Like I really couldn't believe.
Well, first of all, you're knocking them down one ab at a time. Okay, you got Tony Nese in your corner. You're gonna have a 6-pack in no time. But you should be really proud of yourself. I was just like, wow, that's a big transformation in a short amount of time. You've been working really hard.
I had to get rid of like all of my clothes. Like it kind of sucks.
Oh no.
Champagne problem though. And when you lose it that rapidly, you're going through them too. Like you can't even. Yeah.
Like I had to get rid of like 4 or 5 pair of jeans, and I only bought one because I didn't want to outgrow that, and then be out like another, $80 and have to go buy, 4 more pair of jeans. So it is. I know what you're saying, Ryan. Yeah, that's like a high class.
You own 4 pairs of jeans anyway?
I'm just,
I think I own 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
One time we had a student visiting from abroad, and he stole all my jeans that summer. I wish I could remember it. I don't remember the Michael Scott thing, but it's so fucking good.
I knew where you were going.
And he was like a brother to me, but then he stole all my jeans.
So yeah, wow, that's funny. I didn't all-time perennial AEW loser LSG. Thanks for bringing that up. Because not only did we witness Kate eat a hot dog wrong once, I would say the second time we witnessed you eating a hot dog, Kate, it wasn't necessarily that you ate it wrong. You didn't know how to open your bun and you mangled it. Like, I don't know. You looked like when they give, like, you ever see the lab test they do with chimpanzees where they give them simple tools that they've never seen before and they sort of mess them all up and then they eventually learn how to use them? That's what it looked like with your hot dog bun. You were tearing it open. I was like, Kate, it's split right here. And you were like, oh, okay. And you eventually got it.
Comparing me to a monkey. I would rather be walking my dog for the 47th time and she's shitting.
You were just learning simple tools.
I was just learning. I don't know.
Simple tools.
It was like pre-sliced, but it wasn't pre-sliced well, so it didn't feel like it was opening from the right side. So I probably flipped it over, and then it didn't work. I wasn't paying that close attention. I'm sick of the fucking hot dog eating scrutiny that comes with being your friend.
Asian Joe, Ryan, Matt, and I were there that night. We had no problems. We had no problem getting the hot dog buns open and eating them correctly. I see it. The Pro Wrestling Podcast is asking, she didn't eat it sideways. The first time, she did.
from the middle.
She ate it like an ear of corn. Yes.
Can you hold on and give some more context, please?
There's no context that makes this acceptable.
That's right.
There was. I'm not a big condiment gal. Condiments.
I know you don't like condoms, but that's
relax.
Right. You said it.
I was being very brave. You should be very proud of me. I come out here. By the way, the first thing I do, oh, Aunt, you look great. Here's a bunch of compliments thrown your way. You should be so proud of yourself for how hard you work. Kate, you're basically a fucking monkey that doesn't know how to do anything. Thanks. Anyway, I don't like condiments, but I was being brave because, surprise, surprise, I was getting mocked for the way I eat hot dogs.
It was, in all fairness, without cutting you off, I would never have noticed you weren't eating your hot dog correctly if LSG, all-time loser, didn't point it out.
See what happens when you're mean to me? You go on to lose 6 times on AEW.
Ace
ruined it.
My ass.
Tanked him.
Wait, I've been very mean to you and I haven't been on AEW once. What the hell?
That's why.
See, you can't even get booked. At least Gio's getting paid.
I
was trying one end of the hot dog had ketchup, one end of the hot dog had mustard, and I was trying to taste test it all. So I bit like kind of from the middle, and then LSG made fun of me for like an hour, and then you guys made fun of me for the rest of my life.
Hold on.
So Joe, instead of taking a bite from one end, taking a bite from the other, and then just taking a bite from an end again that no longer had a condiment, she decided to do that.
I also Joe.
I didn't really like it, so I didn't want to eat it.
Hold on, I see Joe's hands up, and I'm going to go to you in a second.
Joe, you're the only one here I'd like right now, so please tread lightly.
My only question, Ryan, would be: she said I was testing the condiments out. Like, she's never had You've never had mustard or ketchup before that?
Not since I was a kid.
Oh, bullshit.
No, I'm like...
Eats a hot dog weird, doesn't eat condiments, doesn't use condoms, just a crazy person.
Hot dog down a hallway. Asian Joe?
Hold on. We don't have to go into it. Why did I come on the show?
Happy National Hot Dog Day.
Couple of thoughts and some clarifying questions I have.
Okay, Joe, go for it.
We already did like an hour on this after
it's okay. We'll go back to wrestling eventually.
One, I don't do ketchup in my hot dogs, so I'm with you there.
Right. There you go.
2, do we know for certain if like end to end is the proper like appropriate way of eating a hot dog? Like, is it written somewhere where you have to eat it that way?
Okay.
Yes. Because since the first time someone put the dog in the bun, that's how it's been eaten. That is the way you eat it.
Okay. My other question, and then the other thing I'm going to say was, I have a friend who also, like, when she orders like a Jimmy John sandwich or something like that, she goes through the middle. She doesn't go in. She doesn't go in the end. So
yeah, that's weird. Well, and by the way, fucking LSG who watches sometimes. If you're watching LSG, I've seen the way you eat a fucking banana, you weirdo. He eats it like sideways. Like a corn on the cob.
Yeah, he eats it like you eat a hot dog, sideways.
This is why he's jobbing out. He's probably in catering, trying to eat a banana, and they're like, we're not putting that guy over. What a fucking weirdo.
I hope
that's weird too. Just eat these things normal.
No, I break the banana up. Like,
I'm okay.
No, that's okay. But he eats it like peel it, eat it sideways.
See, I don't want to be driving and like eating a banana and someone rolling past me and see me.
Oh, see, I'm trying to get that whole thing in just for the person
just
passing me.
All the way to the vine.
Even
I
better.
also that's not the standard way I eat a hot dog. There was a reason that it happened that way.
I've only ever seen you eat a hot dog that way.
Yeah.
That's not true. I had a hot dog when we went to the Phillies game and I ate it real normal.
No. Actually, if you remember, when we went to the Phillies game, you ate it from the middle as a joke, but now I can claim that that's the only way I've seen you eat a hot dog.
True.
Trying to figure out how we can segue into the Punk and Starks match.
We're going to. I do like the pro wrestling.
We wanted down many hot dogs during that match.
The pro wrestling podcast said, I eat it like God intended to, eyes closed. You're leaving one important thing out, pro wrestling podcast. You've got to cradle the And Ryan said it too. No chewing. Okay, Kate, you came in at the perfect point because we're talking Collision.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you've come in at the perfect point until you have to leave because your dog is shitting. And watch, it'll be right in the middle of this.
She's currently laying on my foot.
Good.
I hope it's the back end.
Oh,
I'm not trying to play with fire. You're so fucking mean to me today.
Ryan is full of piss and vinegar, Kate. He's also
oh my god, is he gonna say something on the show wasn't great? Is he gonna be like, it was only okay?
For these shows, both Collision and Dynamite, you think I could say anything was bad? I mean, they were two amazing shows. Let's be fair here.
Well,
I have some complaints. I have minor complaints.
You have the one complaint that's legitimate. Anything else I disagree with.
Well,
I have 3 complaints.
Only 3.
Just about.
Okay. I'm going to say we're going to hold
bona
you to
fide
3.
complaints. There's some things that I was like, on.
Well, as far as Collision goes, we did get the Kings of the Black Throne in a match, and then Andrade came out. Nothing really to talk about there. They're advancing the story. The main event was the final for the
This is a long delay, so I'll cut in.
This rules.
He's really gone this time.
This motherfucker.
There you go. You back?
I know I'm back. I saw my picture come back. My apologies.
No, normally I don't talk. I waited out, but that one was long.
Ricky Starks and CM Punk in the main event. Ricky Starks winds up winning over CM Punk. He rolls him up and holds on to the rope for leverage to get the 1, 2, 3. CM Punk is stunned. And of course, my favorite part of this is Jushin Thunder Liger, legendary there. Ricky runs up the ramp, rips it out of his hands, waves, and leaves the stage. Jushin Thunder Liger paid for like 30 seconds of work, and he had to get into his whole outfit.
They didn't even bring him back for Battle of the Belts.
That's true. No, he was just disrespected.
They did a whole segment on the Owen on Battle of the Belts, and they didn't bring him back.
I wish I remember who it was that tweeted it, but they're like, "This is the ultimate tribute to Owen, a prank on Jushin Thunder Liger, where they bring him out only to have him pushed aside."
They also said it, I think, on commentary at one point. They said almost like a rib, something from Owen, but then they were trying to like spin it as a heel thing. And what's the matter, Kate? Your dog just poop on you?
No, she just got up and leaned on me though. Hi, baby. I know.
Interesting things here is obviously Ricky doing whatever he needs to do to win. Very heelish, holding the rope. I am, however, glad that it didn't go to CM Punk because he doesn't need it. Ricky needed it. And I think a lot of people are saying it looks like the start of a heel turn. And I feel like he could go either way, but I'll be happy if this is the start of a heel turn. Joe, going you first.
I think it's the start of a heel turn, but I still think it's Punk. I think Punk can come across and drop his...
I'm distracting Joe by pointing.
Yeah. I'm like, what?
Joe, you got to get used to it. I just do random things.
Yeah, I'm going to ignore you. He can still come across and drop his, complaining about Starks holding the rope and how he cheated to win, and he can drop the whole "tell me when I'm telling lies" line, and he can play the bitter heel, and so I think we're still going that way.
Yeah, I could see it going that way.
It could happen. That's actually very reasonable. I think you could turn both Starks and Punk. I don't think you have to turn just one. There's no reason that one has to stay the other. You could also play with it a little bit, make it really draw it out long for Punk, where he's kind of slowly descending into his dickishness. Match was really good. My one little thing that I will mention, just so Kate can say Ryan has said something sour, is that there's no way Bryce didn't see the hand on the rope. It was so bad.
As soon as he finished counting, he was there holding it. The only rationale that you could maybe say is he counted 3 and was coming up and maybe would have thought, oh, Ricky's grabbing the rope to stand up. But like, even that's a stretch, right?
Yeah, and I put that, and I don't usually like to criticize. I'm pretty nice on the refs, but that is a Bryce mistake. He should have looked away or stayed down an extra couple seconds, because I'm like, wow, that was noticeable. But Starks was great. His reaction to basically just run out. Punk's reaction of like, what the hell just happened was great. So yeah, this was great. Whoa.
Oh, look at this. Matt Bowman checking in. This is a strange way to find out I've been replaced. Nobody's been replaced, Matthew.
Hey, Matt, while you're in the chat, can you tell us if you're doing anything cool this week?
No. We're keeping that on the down low until next week.
Okay.
In case something changes.
Fair enough. Catherine?
So, Catherine.
If it's just Starks turning, I don't love it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Thing is, like, it is kind of cool when you get someone that's authentically a tweener, because I feel like that's hard to accomplish in wrestling, and Punk's a good guy to straddle the fence, but like, people are booing him. Even people that really like Punk want to see him work heel because he's a better heel. I can't pretend that Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson and being in Bullet Club Gold against like CMFTR is a bad thing, though. Like, that'll be a really, really compelling program if that's the direction they choose to go. I just am so much more interested in a CM Punk heel run, because he's just the best bad guy, and he's a decent enough face. He also hasn't had like a true investment story since he's been back. So either way, I think this is good. Like, even if you try and keep Punk face here, I feel like him having something as an individual to sink his teeth into with Starks, and now obviously the Samoa Joe stuff, like there's some good things to be had there. Because I feel like the multi-man stuff is good, but like let's get CM Punk kind of on a track. I really liked this match. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. This 2 out of 3 falls tag match is one of the best tag matches I've ever seen. And fucking Ian Riccaboni. Everything that we talk about every week with that guy, I know we'll probably talk about it in news and notes, but like, I'm so fucking glad that guy got signed, because this, and I think pretty much the entire Briscoes trilogy, are just like perfect examples of how great commentary can fucking ratchet stuff up a notch. Because this did not feel like an hour, and part of that is the wrestling, and I think the way that it was structured was great. Like, it took so long to get that first pinfall, but a lot of that had to do with how fucking good Ian Riccaboni is at his job.
Yeah.
So I am very, very, very happy that he got picked up. He and Ian just had Ian and Nigel rather had a better flow than Kevin Kelly and Nigel have had so far. And I like them, but Ian and Nigel have their ROH experience already. Like, it just felt like it flowed a lot better, but what a fucking match. And I like that with Collision. I say that every week. Like, there's at least one match that I'm like, damn, that was a great match. Like, this feels more like the alternative that AEW was in the beginning of what it was with Dynamite, where now I feel like that's straight a little bit, but it's still really great. And this kind of feels like, fuck, it's a pro wrestling show. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, and I didn't necessarily have it in news and notes because I forgot about it. But to Kate's point, for those who don't know, Riccaboni was picked up on a deal. I think they said that he would work mostly Ring of Honor and then fill in for Kevin Kelly when needed on Collision or elsewhere. So good for Ian Riccaboni. I failed to mention too, he rapped Willow's intro, which is fantastic.
Rap artist and commentator. Looked great with the cowboy hat on too for Stampede.
See, here's the thing. I get that he rapped the intro because he does that every week on ROH when she wrestles, but he had a cowboy hat on. Should probably put on a little twang, little country.
No, Lil Nas doesn't, and he had his cowboy hat on.
He could be like Bubba Sparks. You want to be like Bubba Sparks?
I don't know enough about rap to go where we're going with this, so I'm already out on this conversation. I know who Bubba Sparks is.
Do you?
Do you? Oh, Cass.
So, after this, they do go to Battle of the Belts. And Punk is still at the beginning of Battle of the Belts, sort of like, not really understanding what's going on. He's in shock. He's actually talking to commentary about, Starks having his arm on the ropes. My favorite part of this whole thing was he goes over to hug David Benoit, and there's just some random dude right next to him giving him the double Freedom Rockets. Just fucking great. Fantastic. And so we go into Battle of the Belts. First matchup was International Championship. Orange Cassidy versus Lance Archer. Lance Archer loses. Orange Cassidy retains because Lance Archer gets outsmarted and is counted out. Hated it. And you guys can tell me what you thought. I fucking hated it.
I don't necessarily think it's outsmarted.
Well, what is it?
I guess technically, but I don't think it was because Lance Archer was dumb. I know outsmarted literally means the other person was smarter, but when you say it, it implies that the first person was dumb. It's just Orange Cassidy saw a clever way to win with that because he knew he couldn't beat Archer physically at that point. Thought it was a neat way to do it. It's an unusual way to get to a count out. I haven't seen that before. So I liked it. I had no problem. So we knew Archer wasn't going to win. The story really isn't Archer at this point. It's the fact that Orange Cassidy can barely walk. Like, they're telling that story. He's going to lose soon. So
to me, it's the equivalent of a no finish. You know, like, I mean, give a finish, give a definitive finish. I just didn't like it. I felt like it was a cop out, and I feel like that's all this show is. And we'll talk about it when we get towards the end. Any problems with it, Kate?
No. I liked it, and I feel like this feeds into the Orange Cassidy story. Like, it's getting harder for him to get wins, so the cop out feels like the only way he could win, and I don't mind that. I also think they're setting up Lance Archer to turn on Jake, which I think is good because Jake does not look or sound good, and I feel like that's a really good way to make sure Lance Archer is like firmly heel, is to have him snap on him. There were some people that thought he was going to win because this is kind of Lance Archer coming back, right? So I agree that the title reign's getting a little long in the tooth. I don't think because of Orange Cassidy, but most of his international title reign has not been feud-centric. And so I think if you want him to hold on to it till All In or whatever, just as an example, like, you got to get him in something that's a little bit more story-based so that all of the stuff that you're building up here with the injuries and the workhorseness of it all, it needs to go somewhere with an opponent that's going to give him a story, whether he drops it or not, right? We kind of had one with Swerve, but even that was only 2 matches. So,
Joe, what did you think of OC retaining? Mid! There you go. There you go.
Joe has a soundboard.
Are we having dueling soundboards now? Am I going to have to get a soundboard and just annoy the hell out of everyone?
You are a soundboard. Yeah, see?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Joe. You can expand, but go ahead.
Instead of doing the count out, I was really almost expecting that Jake would cost Lance and get him DQ'd by, like, getting caught hitting a short arm clothesline or something outside. I thought that would have been an interesting way to end the match and then also build for an Archer story, because Archer, it seems like we do the same thing with him all the time. Like, I can't remember the last meaningful or big win he's had since maybe, Moxley?
He is the male Nyla. That's what, like, they have a couple wrestlers where they're like, you're believable enough that we will put you, that no one questions why you're in a title match, but you're not going to win. And I don't love that, but that's what they've kind of come to do with him. They do it with Nyla.
I mean, former host of the show, Matt Bowman, said it really well. Like, whatever they figured out in New Japan with Lance Archer, they just haven't ever fully clicked it in AEW, because his presentation in New Japan and the way that he feels coming into a match is a lot different than, like, hey, you're big and vicious. Like, Lance Archer is so much more than that. But I think because he's been working Japan, they don't want to give him too much to sink his teeth into, because he goes away and comes back, right? So kind of a double-edged sword, but I hope that he's utilized better.
Well, we'll see what's next for Lance Archer. Real quick, Rob Humphrey is asking, is that a burrito on Asian Joe's hat? Rob, go back to the beginning of the show. We talked about it. It is what is referred to as a runza. A runza.
It should be cereal.
Well, it's hard to put a bowl of cereal on.
I mean, Joe is super cereal.
Super cereal.
Duper.
I have cereal behind me. I have.
I see your.
Again.
Yep. I see it. It looks good.
Yeah.
I'm a little upset here, guys, by the way. And I won't keep us upset way too long. But we're talking what Joe has in the background. I really thought I was going to have a food item to show off tonight. Something that made me very sad at one point in our podcasting career. And it hasn't delivered yet.
I'm trying to think what that is.
I know what it is. You might have seen it on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes. Kate, Kate, did you watch or listen to the show last week?
I actually didn't.
Well, Kate, then I need to show you something that Joe sent me as a gift.
I heard some soundboard antics, but I did not listen to the whole episode, is what I should say. Okay.
Well, then you missed the section where Ryan and I showed off Joe's gifts. Ryan got a new switch comb. Is it broken yet, Ryan?
No, but since there was no switchblade tonight, it's over there.
It's all good. Ryan got a
I love that our props depend on. Oh, is switchblade around? Cool.
Yeah. He wasn't on. I don't need it. But Kate, I got a 2-pack of Rumblers from Joe.
You did? Is it as good as mine?
Yeah, I'd have to say it's pretty good. One half is a little hard to see, but it would be John Cena, and the other half is CM Punk. Can you see it?
She is so jealous right now.
Can you see it?
Come on the show. My dog is shitting herself. Okay. And I'm like, I missed last week. I'm not going to miss 2 weeks in a row. And I come on here and I give Ann all these compliments, all this credit for all the healthy decisions he's making. And what happens? I get ridiculed about hot dogs for another 45 fucking minutes. All right. Then we talk a little bit of wrestling. Matt's like, I've been replaced on the show. And then what? Oh, everybody else is getting gifts. Ryan got a switch comb. Ha ha.
You got a gift.
I did, but do you know what my gift included? Not CM Punk. I got Del Rio.
I was hoping it would include Jeff Jarrett.
Kate, that's a good one you got.
Very upset.
Your plan worked perfectly, Asian Joe. Thank you so much.
Santa Asian, like I am.
We already invited you on the show. You don't have to fucking replace me. All right, you don't have to be mean to me.
Right.
Try and kick me off.
Hey, whoa! Nobody's replacing anybody.
Well, we dumped Matt out.
Nobody's replacing anybody.
Matt's
yeah, he got jumped out. He's not even coming to Collision. He's not a collider. After this, we got our AEW.
That's what I say to the non-colliders of the world.
Okay, Freedom Rockets, shoot them off.
That's right. Do you even collide, bro?
Yeah, bro, are you colliding?
Bro, do you even collide?
Yo, you have no idea how to even collide, bro.
When was the last time?
Oh, God.
You ran into someone just at full speed while they were coming at you at full speed.
I mean, it's been a while, but I've collided.
Yeah, you know what's up. You guys know how to collide. Joe, do you know how to collide?
Tell me more.
Oh, Joe. He's never collided. My goodness.
Actually,
my goodness.
Corey Michaels, babe, I'm colliding so hard right now.
You have a raging collision.
That's right.
Well, there you go. You got a title for the show now.
You do. Oh, God.
Are you familiar with the Howie Day vehicle collide?
I've already sang it.
He sang it. Please don't. Please don't.
You and I collide.
See? Wouldn't have done it if you weren't so fucking mean to me on the show.
We get our women's championship match of the night. Toni Storm versus Taya Valkyrie. Now, I can only tell you this. Everybody took a bathroom break during this match because the fucking satellite feed went out because of apparently terrible weather in the area of Saskatoon or whatever, wherever they were.
You think they would have been prepared for a little storm?
Oh my God.
Tony
Storm retains. They did show the finish at the end of the show, but Tony Storm retained. I don't think anybody thought Taya Valkyrie was going to win here.
I have a comment on this, and it's a serious
Go ahead.
comment.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I was going to say, go ahead.
As much as my bad jokes come around.
Complaint department.
This is a legit complaint. You guys criticize me for being too happy and liking too much. And then I
would hope you would support women, but I guess that's where we're going to criticize. So go ahead.
Well, I do. You clearly don't.
I've never criticized this division in my life.
Mike?
My name is Ryan. I love everything about AEW. I love it all. I never dislike anything.
I don't know why I have a robot voice. But
go ahead.
My complaint is pretty. This match was such a foregone conclusion and such a thrown together thing that they didn't care about filling anyone in on the resolution until the end of the show. Like, they understood that everyone watching knew who was going to win, and they put so little thought in this match that they were like, yeah, we can wait till the end of the show to tell everyone what happened.
Well, I think the other thing too, I don't mean to cut you off, Kate, but I think at least from a timing perspective too, like they went completely black everywhere on Fight, on TV.
I get that they went black everywhere, but my point being is like,
I get what you're saying, Ryan, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say, they came back. They did say that the feed went out, Tony Storm retained, and that it's going to be available to watch on TNT's app. They did.
I don't think they said she retained.
They did. They said
they didn't immediately, but they did it before the next match. Because it wasn't like they came back and said it. I think they didn't know where the feed cut out, but they said it before the main event.
They waited a while.
Before. They waited a while, but I think it was more operational. I don't think they knew where it cut out fully.
My point is, if this was Punk versus Starks, they're finding a way to get you that right away. I don't care what they do. They're finding, or they're telling you, hold on, we'll show you the conclusion of that match after this. They did none of that.
Well, there was also no time for them to show you immediately because maybe they didn't know, to Kate's point, they didn't know where the feed cut, but also they had everything else. Like they had to do the cup presentation, here, then they had to do the main event, so it could have just been a timing issue like that. I don't necessarily fault them for that, but I understand your point, Ryan. It was a foregone conclusion. Like I never thought Tay Valkyrie was winning. So
I think if it were Punk and Starks, when they came back, and after the Julia Hart quick matchup that we saw, that was a replay, you would have had Riccaboni going, "Howdy, y'all! We're gonna get to that result as soon as we can. Stay tuned; it'll be right here." They didn't acknowledge it for a little while. They acknowledged the storm, but they didn't say like when we'll be seeing the end of it. I think they realized that no one actually cared.
I think it's somewhere in between. I think you're right. If it was a bigger priority, they would have gone out of their way to mention it sooner. But that was a tightly packed. I mean, nobody watches Battle of the Belts anyway. The show fucking sucks. But
actually did pretty well in the ratings compared. Collision helped it big time.
Big time.
Yeah, but like again, no title changes.
Ooh, hold on, sorry. Hi, Jesse Ozog. How you doing? Good to see you in the chat tonight. My best friend. Thanks for coming. Oh, Kate, and he also says my wife eats hot dogs weird as well.
It's not like that's how I routinely eat hot dogs.
Well, you've set the precedent. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
I think it was somewhere in between. I think that it wasn't like a average technical glitch. They had a satellite go out. So I think you kind of had to catch your breath. And because Ian Riccaboni is normally excellent at that stuff, I think it was probably somewhere in between of production and it not being a priority. But you're right in that this storyline has not moved forward in 2 months. It's the same shit every week. But yeah, I mean, Battle of the Belts is a bunch of meaningless title defenses. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, the main event was the TNT Championship. Oh, as I said, they also presented the cup and the belts. We don't need to go
We
into
got
that.
CTK in his cowboy hat, which was sexy.
Fantastic. But we did get the TNT Championship in the main event, Luchasaurus versus Shawn Spears. May I say to you people that
Say it to me.
commentary said numerous times, despite what you're seeing, Luchasaurus is the TNT champion.
Yeah, but Riccaboni's not there every week, so I think he got that wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody loves Riccaboni.
I love Riccaboni, but this is the problem when you're a
getting it
last minute
wrong.
sub. You're not there for all the stories. It's
You
a
guys,
very understandable
He's a
mistake.
dick. He knows who the real champion is, just like I do. It's Luchasaurus.
This was fucking embarrassing. The fact that they sent out the wrong wrestler to wrestle a title match. That's like an
so embarrassing.
That is an all-time like if you thought the exploding barbed wire death match was a dud, like if you were like, oh, that's a black mark on the company because they fucked it up, that's like a production glitch. This company, this is a company that is a weekly episodic wrestling television, right? Expanding their brand, growing hours and hours, week
was
over
struggling
week.
to describe the company. She wanted to say like $1 million company and then realized it wasn't.
Upset because I feel like, I don't know, maybe Tony Khan's just getting spread too thin. Maybe it's a thing of just like ROH creative has clearly gone to the wayside, right? Like there's no stories really going into that. We got something tonight, but like ROH hasn't been great. We have Collision up and running. Like maybe Tony Khan is just spread too thin, but the fact that like you don't even know who the fuck your mid-card title champion is in Christian, and you send a fucking dinosaur out there, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Shawn Spears isn't that old.
It's embarrassing to call yourself an AEW fan when they don't even know who their champions are.
Can I also say it was fantastic that Christian in the middle of this match has his jacket ripped off by Shawn Spears and he's wearing the cut off turtleneck? Fucking love it.
I love that that confirms the theory. That's what he wears.
This is how I know he's the real champion, is he fucking came to play. You know what I mean?
He's always ready to work.
I have a question, and this is actually sincere. What ROH development occurred tonight?
Oh, we'll talk about it.
I'm assuming we're getting Claudio and Pac.
Agreed.
Oh, okay. All right. It was the assumption. I thought like I missed like an actual announcement. I was like,
come on. No. Read between the lines, buddy.
No, I try not to.
I'd like to hear from Asian Joe. He's been quiet. You two are steamrolling the shit out of him. Asian Joe, what'd you think about
trying to get it in before the dog poops? That's all. Sorry.
I honestly didn't pay much attention to it because
God damn it, Joe.
It was Battle of the Bells. I watched it, but like, you know, I did some other things.
He sent everybody fucking gifts. He didn't give a shit. Good man.
There's the gift. That's the number one. Well, I'll say this. I think the title holders are 19-1 or something like that on Battle of the Belts. So take that however you will. It is not necessarily appointment watching. They need to have these belts change hands on this show at some point. Not all the time, but like give people a reason to think I've got to tune in.
They kind of don't now, and I'm not disagreeing with the whole theory. But now that Collision is on Saturdays, they're kind of just going to count on the fact that some people are going to stay watching as soon as Collision's over. I'm not disagreeing that it's very annoying that at Battle of the Belts no one loses, but I think they are just going to count on the fact of like people are going to watch now. Yeah, it's just the third hour. I don't disagree. I'm not arguing any of your points, but I just think that's the theory that they're going to run with because they did. You okay, Kate?
Everything's fine.
Oh, lost their lights.
I was like, because like again, if you look at, and I'm not here for ratings discussion in terms of like the traditional like arguments online. I'm just talking about like the ratings were clearly down for Battle of the Belts from Collision, but not by a ton. It was the highest Battle of the Belts in a long time. So I think they're just gonna be like, yeah, we have the lead in now. We're good.
Yeah, well, they don't give a fuck. Like clearly otherwise they would try with this. But my whole thing is, you had the FTW belt switch hands tonight. You should have just fucking done that.
Seriously.
Easy peasy.
I agree. That's on a. I was trying to think of what belt it could be. You're right. FTW would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, and I was the one who said, well, they're probably going to do the FTW belt on Battle of the Belts. And of course they put it on tonight. We'll talk about it because that was our Saturday night of wrestling. So we've got to obviously move into tonight. Blood and Guts, big night of wrestling. Kate's going to try to stick around as long as the dog doesn't have to poop again. Uh-oh.
Not looking great.
Oh,
but
boy.
We're going to try.
Well, we're going to see how it works out. But we're going to take a short break so you can hear about some of the other shows that are part of the Shining Wizards Network. Kate's going to try to take the dog to poop. I'm probably going to get another drink. Asian Joe maybe going to have some cereal. Ryan's going to find a switch comb. Who knows? See what happens when we get back.
No, there was no switchblade tonight. We're good.
Maybe Ryan will come back with a wig on or something. Ryan, figure out something, would you?
Make use of your time.
Ryan's got to go to his wig trunk to find.
I've been moving things around. I have to reorganize.
Get it
together.
Man.
Get it together, people. We'll be right back here.
Yeah, I'm going real.
We'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in every Monday night to listen to The Shining Wizards. If you'd like to continue to support us outside of listening, we've got a few ways for you to do that. If you shop at Amazon, go over to amazon.shiningwizards.com, do your shopping as usual, and when you make your purchase, a little bit of that purchase price will go back to support the show. If you like to wear t-shirts, merch.shiningwizards.com will take you to our Pro Wrestling Tees store, where we've got over a dozen great designs from over 11 years of professional wrestling podcasting. You can become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/wizardspodcast, where each and every week we call out your name as one of our show producers, and the more you support us, the more things that you're entitled to receive, and believe me, they are fantastic. If you can't support us monetarily, if you don't shop at Amazon, that's absolutely fine. Continue to listen to us wherever you listen to us on the World Wide Web, and make sure you like, rate, review, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Doesn't cost you anything, helps us out, and we can continue to bring you the love fest that is The Shining Wizards.
What's up, folks? It's your boy, the Impact Player, Mr. Philly Ray, inviting all of you to check out the Turnbuckle Throwbacks Wrestling Podcast. Join us as we cover all things current in the world of pro wrestling, as well as paying homage to the old school, the Squared Circle. So listen in and find out why we are the recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment broadcasting. Find us on all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast from. And as always, we are the proudest members of the Shining Wizards Network and Rant Entertainment Media.
Are you tired of being lied to every day by the mainstream media?
Do you want to know what's really going on in the world?
Do you want to make up your own mind about things and not be told what to think or say?
Then listen to Inconclusive Breakdown, a weekly anti-PC look at the world of entertainment and current events, brought to you without censorship or filters.
You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts, BitChute, and on ShiningWizardsNetwork.com.
And also, we're a proud member of the Shining Wizards Network.
Got 30 minutes to kill? Come check out 30 Screams or Less, where we review a horror movie in 30 minutes or less. We cover new movies and old ones too.
We'll give our honest thoughts on the movie, good or shit, as well as a rating of each one that we watch.
New episodes weekly, available on the Shining Wizards Network and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Corey.
Come check us out at 30 Screams or Less.
G'day guys, my name is Thomas, one half of the Broadcast Podcast. With our podcast, we go back and watch wrestling events from WWE, WWF, WCW, ECW, AEW, and many other wrestling promotions. You can check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast, that's TheBrokast, and you can also download all episodes on Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Castro, and many other podcast apps.
You like your music heavy? Then check out Radioactive Metal on the Shining Wizards Network. For over 16 years now, Radioactive Metal has been one of the longest running podcasts. Over the years, we've interviewed some legendary metal acts, had some awesome discussions, and cranked a hell of a lot of tunes. So join your cool Uncle Snowy and his co-host Aaron for the audio mosh pit that is radioactive metal here on the Shining Wizards Network.
Well, the action is underway.
What's up, everyone? When on the Shining Wizards Network, be sure to check out Wrestling Night in Canada. If we're not recording another kick-ass podcast,
Or playing in punk bands.
Or recording kick-ass heavy metal albums,
then we're sitting back, we're grabbing a couple brews, and going over everything to do in the world of pro wrestling.
because we're from Winnipeg, you idiots.
The Mark Order Podcast is the only show you need if you're looking for dedicated coverage of everything AEW on the Shining Wizards Network. Join us live on YouTube every Wednesday night at 10:15 p.m. Eastern after Dynamite to chat along with the show. If you can't join us live, listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social channels at Mark Order Pod and use the hashtag #JoinTheMarkOrder, because if you don't find us,
we will find you.
I'm Kevin Rowe.
I'm Al Day.
And we're a couple of down under pounders that co-host Rogue Day Dots, an action figure collecting podcast where we talk about, well, just about anything that tickles our fancy at any given moment.
We're grumpy old men, and sometimes people get on our nerves. And when you get on our nerves, guess what? You get off the lawn.
Get off my lawn, asshole! We also go on a little bit of a mission. We go back and we're grading every wrestling figure line that's out there. I'm talking LJNs. I'm talking Jacks. I'm talking Hasbros. Who doesn't like a little Hulkaplex? It's a Gorilla Brain Wrestling podcast production found on the Shining Wizards Network.
I'm Duke Bags.
Kevin Rowe.
And together we are the co-hosts of Your Duke and Road. If you want to hear about some terrible wrestling shows, we got you covered.
Well, we talk about good ones, too.
We're currently talking about the death of WCW.
I know what we're fucking talking about. Sometimes we get guest spots, like from the Taskmaster. I like to listen to the Year of Duke and Rope podcast. They're funny guys. That I like when they talk about the Nards plows. I like Nards plows. That's a good move. And I like the Dungeon of Doom. You know, sometimes I call my butt the Dungeon of Doom. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Let me tell you a little bit about my favorite wrestling podcast. All right. It's a podcast for two men, Duke Bags, Kevin Rowe. They talk about professional wrestling. It's a man's sport. All right? And who better to talk about a man's sport than Duke? Oklahoma.
And once in a while, Vince Russo stops by.
Oh, you piece of shit! If you're not listening to the Year of Duke and Rope podcast in the back with the boys, you piece of shit, I don't know what you're doing. It's, you gotta slide one in there. If you're a man, you're talking about something only a man can do. You're talking about sliding one in there. Bro, take the time to slide one in there. All right, bro, you piece of shit. Slide one in there. A Gorilla Brain Wrestling podcast production that you can find on the Shining Wizards Network.
All right, we are back here on the Mark Order podcast. Ooh, Joe, changing hats.
It makes me feel a little bit more East Coast.
I like you, son of a bitch.
I'm an East Coast basketball guy.
A Knicks hat?
Yeah.
A Knicks hat? We have you on the pod, and this is what you wear?
Joe, it's okay with me. Don't worry about that. I'm not even a Knicks fan, but it's okay. Don't worry. Don't be worried. Let's take care of a few pieces of business real quick. Oh, there goes Ryan. You can follow us on all of our socials at Mark Order Pod. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads. That's what all the kids are on now, I guess. Threads. And when you're there, you can hit up the link tree in our bio to check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store. So check out the store. We've got some t-shirts up. You can get there by clicking the link in the link tree or go to prowrestlingtees.com/MarkOrderPod or search for the Mark Order Podcast on Pro Wrestling Tees. And our store will pop up. We've got 4 shirts up for sale, 2 front prints, 2 double-sided prints. Any money you spend there will go back into the show, and we thank you who have purchased them already, and we thank you for those who will purchase them in the future. So thank you so much. Other than that, all the little things help. If you could give us a follow on our socials or subscribe, likes, all that kind of stuff, it definitely helps us. We'll remind you again, and I would like to say welcome, partner, to Ryan the Cowboy.
Yeehaw.
Guys, I also
thought I was going to pull up my Sixers hat.
Oh, no. You've got your Sixers, your 6 shooters, I guess. Bam, bam. Pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. Who are you, Ricochet?
Bang, bang, bang.
Guys, I forgot too. We might as well do this before we jump into Dynamite, because honestly, there were 3 matches on the show tonight. Might not take that long to get through Dynamite. It's that time. I got a new crate. Brand new crate.
Heart.
Bless my heart. I'm going to use
getting the
Jay
vapors.
White to open it up. Jay White. Open in the box. Ooh. So the crates this month, for those who are wondering, is the All Out 2023 crate. And, there's some good stuff in here, Ryan. Not going to lie. There's some good stuff. The shirts, I think, are excellent. And if I can get one out here, the first one is I don't have any of these, so that's fantastic. It's an MJF Kiss the Ring t-shirt.
That's a big fist.
Ooh, that's an old school one.
I like it. And Schlong, you're definitely going to like this one. This one is a Sting t-shirt. But Ryan, it's a Sting 1990.
Oh my God. I'm surprised they're allowed to do that.
It's fantastic.
It's amazing.
USA Surfer Sting. Love it. Let's see the rest of the stuff they got in here. We have some CM Punk stickers. I don't have anybody who'd want these, so I'll just throw them away. At least nobody here who's going to speak up and ask for them. So let's see. Ooh, Haters hits hard. Jamie Hayter pin. It's a nice one. We have our micro brawler here for the month. It's Jungle Boy Jack Perry. We're definitely going to talk about what's that?
He's dead now.
Well, we're going to talk about him for sure. But this is old school Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Got a pair of socks here, and you can't really see the face here, so I'll just hold it up like this and show you socks. It's acclaimed. Some acclaimed socks. Those are pretty dope. Poster of the month is Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy All Out 2020.
I like that.
I do like the crate posters because they're all like that old school boxing, poster sort of feel.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing that I think they include in this.
Yeah. I didn't open this up. I can open it now. But this is apparently, as you can hear me opening, a flag. Is that what they're calling it? A flag? Yeah, they're calling it a flag. This is a Briscoes flag. And it's a them boys.
Oh, shit. Upside down, but oh, shit.
Is it upside down? I'm not even looking.
It was upside down.
My bad. Hold on. Huh. It's pretty dope. I just wish it had eyelets in it so you could actually hang it if you want to. And Schlong, we play this game all the time. This month's crate has a one autograph in it. Joe, I'm sure you've listened or watched. And this month it's one autograph. Now I can give you hints if you'd like. We usually take 3 guesses. If you'd like a guess before
Max Caster.
No, I could tell you that already.
I'm not going to guess because I know who it is already.
Oh.
So, Ryan, you have 2 more strikes.
I think I know who it is too, based on the chat.
Come on. God damn it.
They didn't know we were playing the guessing
We
game.
always play the guessing game.
And I never answer seriously. And plus, one LT photo has a funny point. Their Hobbs wasn't signed.
Oh, my Hobbs is definitely signed.
I'm sorry.
That really
I'm
sucks.
Sorry. And who is it again?
Oh, thank you, Joe. You're keeping me honest. It is the one and only
Powerhouse.
Will Hobbs. It's signed. So there's your all-out crate for the month. I think they opened up the crates for more subscriptions. I'm not 100% sure, but you could certainly head over to, I don't know, check it out, see if they did. Crates always have 2 shirts and a bunch of other goodies in it, an autograph, if you're lucky enough to have it autographed, poster, all that kind of stuff. All right, guys. Crate is done. So let me just pack it up real fast, put it to the side, and then we are going to talk about Dynamite. Dynamite live tonight back in the United States. The return to Boston from the TD Garden. And it was a 3-match card. Pre-announced 3-match card. We got a 4th put on. So I think we all pretty much knew when they announced Blood and Guts, we were going to get 1 hour out of that, and we were going to figure out how to fill the other section. So, we're going to talk about it, chat along with us for sure. Sorry, I'm trying to vamp because I'm getting back to my notes. And we let off tonight with, Ryan, what happened? It's the cowboy hat.
I don't know. One minute I was fine, and then the next I wasn't. I don't.
It's Asian Joe hacking you.
I'm going to say Ryan looks somewhere.
Oh no!
In the business.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
I still have my guts.
My goodness. So, Blood and Guts tonight from Boston, and we open up tonight with Hook versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. That's what we knew we were getting for the FTW Championship. However, as Jungle Boy's music hits, it is the Tarzan Boy music. The crowd is sort of mixed. There are some boos, some people waving along. All of a sudden, no Jungle Boy. So the arena goes dark and the screen comes on. And there's a Jungle Boy vignette where he is burying something out in the desert. Now, they don't show us what he's burying. He's just digging a hole and filling it in. And then he's waiting, and a limo pulls up. He gets in, and they go back to the arena, and he's got new music. I don't know the name of the song. I'm sure somebody in the chat can put it there. I'm not that cultured, but it's the classic dun 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 dun.
Beethoven's Symphony No. 5.
Thank you, Joe. Beethoven's 5th. I'm sorry, I'm not that cultured, Joe.
I'm a big fan of his 6th, but his 5th,
okay. Ryan, that shows a lot.
Thank you.
But he comes out with Beethoven. He is in long leather pants, hair pulled back in a ponytail, leather jacket, very heel look. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I did not love the music when he came out. But post-match, when we heard his music, maybe alluding to the end here, I sort of loved it. I just feel like the way they sort of presented it at the start was sort of a miss. Like, I didn't really know what the fuck was going on. Like, I wish maybe they showed him throwing something in that in that hole, like his old tights, or
they had the boots.
Were the boots
With
in
the
there? I missed it.
He was dragging by the boots. But what they should have done is when he pulled away, they should have shown like the cross that you put in front of an old style grave, and it should have just said Jungle Boy.
See, that would have been perfect.
And then the music should have been louder.
Well, I also wasn't sure where we were going with this character because, like, getting in a limousine, I was like, are they going like I'm Hollywood royalty Jack Perry? You know what I mean? Like,
I think they kind of are.
It's kind of weird because, like, if it was something like that, his music could have been different. Again, it just sort of like seemed really weird, maybe because we didn't really understand where we were going off the bat. But we clearly saw it as he got into the match. He was not Jungle Boy, right? Like, he was just Jack Perry. And he was, sort of doing shit heely stuff. Obviously, Hook comes out when we get underway. But he's sort of trying to avoid Hook. He's sort of running off, and then things sort of get underway. So, cutting to the end, Jungle Boy Jack Perry wins by pinfall with a one-arm pin and a shit-eating grin to become the FTW champion. Paul Turner took a bump. Hook was able to hit a Tazplex, but no referee. So Jack is able to hit Hook across the head with the title. And that's when Paul Turner was able to recover and count the 1, 2, 3. So Hook's streak is over. Jack has some gold. Taz is pretty upset at this whole thing. So Joe, I'm going to throw it to you first here. Your thoughts on everything, the presentation of Jack, his win. What'd you think about all this?
It felt very it felt like Darby did the video for Jack. It felt very like Jungle Jack avant-garde. And I was confused on what the character was supposed to be for a while. Then when they played the symphony music, I thought it was kind of an odd choice for him since he never really had that character where it made sense for him. And I feel like they use a lot of this classic symphony music, like choir's music, parts of the beginning part of Danielson's music. It's all very classic music, and I always wanted them to use like by Welcome to the Jungle or by the 90210 theme song and use it. I mean, that would make more sense if 90210 theme song was his Hollywood upbringing. I'm better than you, I'm rich, I'm entitled. But as far as the match goes, I was a little confused early on when he was going to be okay with winning by countout. Okay, I didn't understand that part. But I like the fact that he won because I feel like you're in that second stanza of the story. So now Hook has to come back and chase and to close out the arc. So I was happy with the outcome.
Yeah, I was good with the outcome too. I don't want that to get lost in the shuffle. Just odd with the character stuff. Ryan, how did you feel about it?
As they say, by hook or by crook. Come on. I like the music choice. I don't know why it just seems so arrogant and so pretentious, and I think that fits what they're trying to do with Jungle Boy. That in some ways, this is a guy who, like, the story, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, but it's how I'm reading it. But it's almost like this is a story of a guy who doesn't know how to be the bad guy he's supposed to be. So, like, he chooses Beethoven's Fifth because that's what a sophisticated Hollywood type would choose. Like, it just seems like that's the story they're telling. The smile at the end was nice. The shit-eating grin. I thought Hook looked good in this match. I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad that Jack won in the sense that I think this continues the feud, and I wanted Hook to be in a feud. So this is a good first one, like real one for him. So far, so good. Taz being pissed off is always funny. I don't like ref bumps a ton, but it made sense here. So all good tonight.
Yeah, now him and Christian are both champions. It works.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's funny. Marky Mark Kayfabe puts in the chat his pitch. Now that Jack is the champion, Christian and Luchasaurus welcome him back to the fold. The following week, they come out and Christian is with Jack's mom. That would be hilarious. So, moving on in the show, we do get footage of Marvez earlier in the day trying to get some idea of what's going on with Chris Jericho and the Don Callis family. He got word that there was a meeting, so they're spying on Callis and Jericho showing something to each other on their phone, and then they quickly notice Marvez and they get security to chase him off. So, not 100% sure what's going on. We're going to sort of come back to this momentarily. But obviously, Jericho's not saying no, right? So we don't know where things stand. If we want to hold and talk about this until we get sort of to the next piece, that's fine.
Please do.
Okay. So moving on, Taz, as we said, is still sort of pissed off about, Hook losing. But we get tossed to an Adam Cole MJF vignette of them hanging out yet again. And Cole says he wants Max to face his fears. That includes eating really spicy food and poor people. So he wants him to face them together with him. So they go into Kowloon, which is apparently a Boston area, staple. And MJF is upset, but he goes along. And Friedman, they show them in the restaurant, and Friedman is sort of doing a retelling of slamming Big Bill as their food comes, and Adam Cole saying that's not how it happened. We talked about this. But food comes and they start to dig in. Cole says he promises it's not really spicy, but it's fucking spicy. And they're both dying for a drink. So the waiter brings drinks over, and MJF goes to town on one, grabs the other, and says, "This tastes really weird. I know that the tap water here in Boston is garbage," but he says to the waiter, "This tastes funny." And the waiter says that is 100% alcohol. And they sort of flash forward a little bit, and they're drunk, talking about the match again. And then they both point out, this guy looks like a ringer for Sammy Guevara. This guy looks like Daniel Garcia. And they say that there's only one thing left to do, and that's the double clothesline. And they show them basically gunning for the waiter with the double clothesline. We don't see it, but it goes to break. Now, again, gentlemen, we sort of come back to this. So if we want to sort of wait to talk about all this together, we certainly can. But I will say this. I love these video packages they've been doing. They've been fantastic since the first time they were hanging out. I think, Schlong, you were the one to bring it up and said, I want them to do these vignettes. I want them to show them hanging out. And I thank God every week they're continuing to do that.
The best thing they could have done. It's amazing. And they're funny, and the two of them play off each other really well. It's actually gotten me to a point where I don't want them to split up. I genuinely enjoy the two of them together. I think they actually have really good chemistry. We'll see where it goes. I mean, but then again, if they do split up, it sucked me in, and that's kind of what you want when MJF or whoever never returns. That tells a story. And then you have Roderick Strong, just that little piece on the outside, just kind of sitting there. So I everything here is perfect. The 100% alcohol also made me laugh.
Oh, it was
because that it's 100%. Well, you're dead.
Yeah. Joe, anything you want to add?
This was I love all the little vignettes of them and adding to the storytelling, but this was probably the one that was probably my least favorite of the three. But I'll always take it. I'll always enjoy watching. The match itself is far more entertaining for me. So,
well, we'll certainly talk through the match. It's coming up in the card. But as they get back from break, we see Marvez still trying to get the scoop from Jericho and Don Callis. So he interviews them as they pull up in their limo, but they mock him, call him a fathead, and provide no answers. And they're still looking very buddy as they walk into the arena. So again, guys, we're not 100% sure where things are going here. We're going to see more out of Jericho. We can talk about this as we get to the match, so we'll sort of hold that. But we get Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, next in a sort of not unscheduled, but it wasn't announced on the card before tonight until the show. We get Britt Baker, and she is facing Kayla Sparks. Congratulations, Kyle K. Glad to see your sister, cousin, whoever got a shot at TV. Unfortunately, Dr. Britt Baker wins in pretty easy fashion with the lockjaw. And we move on. Now, I'll say this to you, gentlemen. It was good to see a ladies match before, before like any death slot, but it's sort of a hard spot to be in when you've only got 3 announced matches and you've got to do something fast. I don't know what we tried to accomplish here besides put Britt Baker on TV, but it sort of is what it is. Joe, you look like you got something on your brain.
I was with you. I had no idea why. Did Britt just need a rep of a match? Because you have this short squash, and then, the next match we'll talk about with the tag match, they have so much like shenanigans to start that match, like that took probably 3 or 4 minutes itself. You could have gave Britt a little bit longer, and Kayla Sparks is, she could have shown a little bit more because she does good work on the indies.
Yeah, she does. You're absolutely right. And also, it would have been nice for Kyle K. Sparks to get to see his family wrestle some longer.
Absolutely, because I don't know when their family reunion is next, but that's probably the next time he sees her.
Probably. So, guys, we move on before we get to the tag match to the gorgeous Renee Paquette backstage interviewing Adam Cole and MJF. Cole says he's not surprised by their chemistry. It's lightning in a bottle. They're going to win tonight and then win the tag titles. Max says they've only got a plan A, which is the double clothesline. And he says there's no plan B, kind of like he said, I think, Sammy, like you and Tay, your second wife or whatever, Tay, there's no plan B, which I thought was a great joke, sort of twofold. Plan B maybe as the morning after, plan B maybe as #justice for Pam. But it was a great dig. Adam Cole seemed to wince at first, but then sort of be okay with it, which I thought was also a nice little tell. And then MJF says he's got a gift for Adam. And he says, let me put my belt down. And he said he's got matching trunk skis for tonight. Adam says that's fantastic because he's got a gift for them and pulls out matching jackets that he made. And he promises that he's got one more surprise, but that MJF's going to have to wait for it. And they go off together. But we see a frustrated Roddy Strong roll up and sort of be like, Adam, what's going on? And nothing happens. So Roddy, as Ryan was saying, Roddy's still on the outside looking in. Not too sure what's going on with Roddy. But MJF and Adam Cole are still very, very much at this point like 2 best friends that anyone could ever have. So again, sort of wrapping all this up, the vignette, the pre-match interview we've had this week over week, they're getting closer and closer. Right now, things looking pretty good. I don't know if either of you guys want to comment on their relationship to this point, but we'll get into the match unless any of you guys want to talk about it. Asian Joe shaking no. Schlong, you want to add anything at this point? Okay, Schlong no as well. So into the match we go. Better Than You, baby. Adam Cole and MJF versus the JAS's Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. This is the final. So the winner of this match will get FTR on the 29th episode of Collision in Connecticut for the titles. We do get a surprise here as Garcia and Sammy Guevara come out first. Jericho makes an appearance to show his support and goes to join commentary. And Friedman and Adam Cole come out. MJF comes out first, and then he says, cut my music, and he brings out Adam Cole. MJF's music starts again, and MJF is saying, you guys have made a mistake. You played my music twice. And that's when we find out the surprise is a mashup version of their 2 themes, which is fantastic. MJF loves it. Adam Cole loves it. They do the whole intro. And then as we get into the start of the match, Bryce goes to ring the bell. Garcia stops him. He does his dance. Bryce goes to ring the bell. MJF stops him. He does Garcia's dance back. Bryce tries this like 2-3 more times and continues to get stopped. So MJF calls for a dance off, and he goes ringside and plays some disco music. There's a dance off with the JAS doing their dual dance. Then MJF does his dance. Adam Cole is reluctant, but then he goes to do his dance. Not very good. Not very good. And MJF basically says, cut the music, it's over. And then they get jumped and we're into the real match. Getting to the end here, the good news, guys, is that MJF and Adam Cole do win this match with the double clothesline. They finally get it. Double clothesline. And they're on to face FTR. Post-match, we do see, the JAS head up the ramp. Jericho says, I've got to console my guys. So he goes to the ramp. He's sort of waiting to sort of congratulate them and console them, but they kind of look at each other and walk straight past him. So again, we're sort of into this Jericho Don Callis family story. And then FTR sort of comes out. But before, we sort of get a stare down, I forgot this point. My apology, gentlemen. Bryce has the world championship, and Adam Cole says, I'll give it to him. And he takes a really long look at it, and MJF catches him, gets really pissed off. Adam Cole says, hey, man, I'm just trying to give it back to you. It's all good. Eventually, MJF forgives him for that. And he says, it's okay, buddy. And he goes, go get up there. Go ahead. Do your thing. And as Adam Cole turns around, MJF, the smile leaves his face, and now he's kind of pissed off. So there's a little dissension in the rank. FTR comes out. There's a bunch of stare downs and posturing, but this is where we're going. And then eventually we do go to a break. So, gentlemen, a lot of stuff here. We've got the FTR story. We've got the Adam Cole and MJF story. Maybe their friendship's not all it seems. There's still some jealousy between them. We've got the JAS sort of showing that they're not all on the same page because Jericho's sort of in this limbo. A lot of stuff to address. Ryan, I'm going to throw to you first. What did you think of everything here?
The music at the beginning was great. MJF jumping on Adam Cole and this, not just jumping, picking up Adam Cole, I should say, spinning him around. It was so great. Match is very good. The dancing at the beginning was really funny. I know not for everyone, but that kind of shit cracks me up, especially when it precedes a good match.
They also don't do a lot of that. They don't do a lot of this wrestling sports entertainment type shit, No,
but especially when it precedes a good match, and the match was very good. I loved there was I'm blanking on a couple points, and I hate when I do that, but I love the end where Guevara and Garcia just blew by Jericho. There's a lot of a story there that I'm really enjoying, and the subtle bit of tension between Cole and MJF is great because they need that a little bit. Even though I want them together, the subtle bit of tension helps. Finally, I really think this is another sign if FTR might be going heel. They did some more heelish things here. The way they acted, the way they handled things. They're not a lot, they're not the stand-up good guys. They're a little, play our music. We're the champs, like that kind of stuff. Like, I'm a fan. I love this whole segment.
And they also, but what's interesting about FTR, and then Joe, obviously I want your thoughts, but the interesting thing with FTR is before these big matches, they do a lot of this heelish type posturing. And then after the match, much like we saw with the Bullet Club, they do the babyface thing. They sort of extend their hand or they want to congratulate the other team, so it's sort of weird. Like they're in this sort of weird tweener spot where it's like, could they be going heel? But then they don't, they do the opposite. You know what I mean? So sort of a weird thing, but Joe, the floor is yours. What did you think of all this?
Well, first of all, I mean, FCR doesn't have to be bad guys or good guys. They just have to be the top guys, right?
Oh, good point.
So, first of all, I was thinking the mashup. I was trying to think of like the last time, like a really good mashup. The last mashup that was really like you really got into that you really liked. You're music people.
Yeah, I'm thinking. You're talking like true mashup, right? Like you're talking like somebody will take the song and then put different like lyrics over it. Like somebody took the music of Ghostbusters and put, like Hand That Feeds by 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor's vocals over it. You want to know something for real, Joe? I'm not a big fan of a lot of mashup stuff like that, but I don't mind like mashing up styles. So like I'm not a big Linkin Park fan, but I understand the Jay-Z collaboration with Linkin Park. Like that stuff worked 100%. I also enjoyed like a lot of stuff you'll get like the Judgment Night soundtrack where it was a lot of like rap rock collaborations. That whole album pretty much was like early 90s rap metal mashups, or even like the Spawn soundtrack where it was a lot of the like new metal bands in that day with a lot of the electronic music artists. Like I like a lot of that stuff. Don't like a lot of the like straight mashup stuff.
Well, just going to the match though, I guess building off of what's been said already, I really liked MJF's character work that he did. The whole like the holy shit of him doing a tope. I thought that was real fun to watch him do that and do some things that he typically wouldn't do or doesn't do when he's full on heel MJF. I went to this match thinking that one of these teams were going to completely implode, and that would be they would splinter and we get a story from that. But not having that happen kind of left a little bit more intrigue as far as, like you mentioned, where Sammy and Garcia go with against Jericho and whatever Jericho's doing, and then MJF and Adam Cole, if what happened to them during the match and after the match with FTR. I think that's really. I wasn't surprised by the outcome. I was just surprised that nothing too wild happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all sort of felt like we knew where the outcome was gonna go, right? So that wasn't the surprise. What has been interesting in this whole thing, and what's been fantastic to me to see sort of through this whole story with MJF and Adam Cole is you've seen Adam Cole sort of come to the middle, right, and meet MJF. And we've seen MJF slowly over the past few weeks sort of come over to Adam Cole's side, right? And tonight, I think I even said to Mrs. Money on the couch, wow, that's really weird. MJF is high-fiving people at ringside and little kids. Like, when's the last time I don't know if I've ever seen MJF like high-five a little kid and not give him the finger or, hold his hand out and pull it back or something like that. You know what I mean? It's been very interesting to see this sort of little slow progression of babyface MJF. And to me, it shows that there's some money in a babyface MJF at some point if they want to do something like that. I don't know. But good match. We'll see what the championship holds. So moving forward, we get a recap of Collision, and then we get Ravishing. Renee Paquette backstage with the Best Friends, Chris Statlander, Darby Allin, and Nick Wayne. She's talking about some upcoming obligations that each one of them has. The Best Friends are in Ring of Honor 4-way match for the tag titles on Friday. Chris Statlander, has her belt and she's been defending it. She has a match against Marina Shafir Friday night. And then, she says, to Darby and Nick Wayne, like, you're going to be in the Royal Rampage Battle Royal to see who gets a shot at the TNT title. And Darby basically says, Swerve wants his attention. He's got it. He's going to beat him at the Royal Rampage. And then Darby asks Orange Cassidy for a favor for an old friend who took him in when he was homeless. and he asks him for a title shot against AR Fox. So Orange Cassidy agrees in true Orange Cassidy fashion and says, sure, why not? And we know we're going to get that next Wednesday. Orange Cassidy, AR Fox. That match should rule. And the best friends put their hands in. Darby Allin and Nick Wayne sort of say no thanks. Well, Nick Wayne pretty much says no thanks. Darby Allin just walks off. And then we're sort of off to get set up for the main event of the night. So, main event is obviously Blood and Guts. It gets the full final hour. And for those who maybe are not 100% familiar with Blood and Guts rules, it's basically a War Games. Well, it is a War Games. And two men start out, one from each side. They go for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, one of the members from one of the teams will enter, and then we go back and forth after 5 minutes for each. So there's always an advantage for one team, then it's evened up, then the advantage. And eventually, when all people get into the ring, that's when the match officially starts. The match can only be won by submission or surrender. And for those people who aren't like, well, isn't a submission a surrender? That's correct. But in the Blood and Guts or the War Games, the person who's being submitted doesn't have to give up. Anyone on the team can say, we give, which is a surrender. So we start out with Claudio and Kenny Omega. Eventually, we get everybody else to get into the ring. Pac is the third man. Then we get Hangman Adam Page, followed by Moxley, Nick Jackson, Wheeler Yuta, Matt Jackson. Then finally we get my God, Takeshita. Thank you. It's based on his name. We get Takeshita. And then obviously saving the best for last, or the most anticipated for last on the Golden Elite, is Kota Ibushi. Again, this went the full hour. It saw everything you could possibly ask for. We had broken glass. We had forks. We had thumbtacks. We had Matt Jackson doing the suplexes in succession on top of the cage. We saw the thumbtacks go through the cage from the top. We saw a fucking bed of nails. We saw, tables. We just didn't see barbed wire tonight. But when all is said and done, as we get close to the end of this match, eventually Claudio and Pac have issue with each other. They
had issue with each other all match.
That is true, but eventually it's too much, and Pac decides to say fuck you to his whole team. He literally does by giving them freedom rockets. He gets bolt cutters, leaves the cage, and he's out. Blackpool Combat Club is now down 4-5. Eventually, as things are starting to look down for the Blackpool Combat Club, Don Callis calls for Takeshita to leave the ring. So now it is just the Blackpool Combat Club 3-on-5. And eventually, Moxley gets handcuffed to one of the ring ropes. Wheeler Yuta is sort of left against all 5 of the Golden Elite. He then gets choked by a chain. And at this point, it's 10 o'clock. So they have clearly run out of time. And the bell rings, and the story is that the Golden Elite win because Jon Moxley has surrendered to save Wheeler Yuta. There are some people saying that Wheeler Yuta did get choked out, and it was sort of a knockout. That is not what commentary said. Commentary was pretty clear on the fact that they surrendered, and Moxley did it sort of to save Wheeler Yuta. But the Golden Elite stand tall at the end. Claudio tends to Wheeler Yuta. Mox is sitting like dumbfounded, handcuffed to a rope that he couldn't help. And that's pretty much it. So it is a classic Blood and Guts, goes way over, but they are able to finish it by 10:02, and they move on to the cube. This is our third Blood and Guts, right? Third.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second one that Brian Danielson has missed.
Correct.
So, Schlong, I'm going to throw it to you first here, or maybe not. Schlong, you with us?
I'm with you. I think it's you that's out.
Was it? Oh, it looked a little choppy. I'm sorry.
I think it's you
Schlong,
that's out.
Schlong, what did you think of the Blood and Guts?
This match was awesome. A lot of blood. No guts, but a lot of blood. The nail bed, just why? I love that when Moxley started bleeding, they're like, Moxley's bleeding, and you hear Shivani go, it's a day that ends in Y. Nice little dig at him. The order was good. You know, you had to have Ibushi last. Now I'm going to read, Kate sent me notes, but I'm going to read them because I have a comment to these. First, she did say, I forgot to say this, MJF and Cole should be champions forever. Bro Chacho. But her comments on Blood and Guts.
Can I say
Coda didn't...
Real
Sure.
quick, Schlong, before you get to her notes, I just want to say one thing.
What?
I actually thought, because you mentioned Moxley, or jog my memory, I thought actually one of the best parts of this match was when Mox came in looking like a maniac and started stabbing people with a fork. And then
no one bled.
No one bled, which is fine. But then he pours out the broken glass. And then my favorite part of the broken glass was he takes a fistful and puts it on Hangman's stomach and just starts to grind his foot into it. I thought that was so badass. Like, it just was so perfect. I didn't want to forget that. Go ahead.
No, I loved him walking in with the fork. Hangman goes to punch him. He just stabs him with the fork in the head. The only reason no one bleeding is, I brought that up, is because he stabs and rakes the fork across Hangman and Kenny's head. And yet he's the one who bleeds first. It's just typical Mox.
Typical.
But her comments were, Blood and Guts was hella fun, but Coda didn't look good, and I don't love having Anarchy in the arena end this. When you have an exploding shoe in one match, this felt more like a lateral step up than a step up, more lateral than a step up from the last one. Also, nails, friendship wins. Now, my real comment there is that I kind of agree with her on Coda. I don't think Ibushi looked great in this match. I think he looked a little off. Now, I don't know if that has to do with the fact that he was last in and everyone was kind of beat up by then and tired, and maybe their timing was just off. I don't know if it's just he didn't have a feel for it yet, but I agree. A lot of his moves just were missing. Luckily, in a match like this, it doesn't really matter. He was there for more the show than anything else, and he did that very well. I mean, he had his Jeff Hardy moment where he took forever to get to the ring as his buddies are getting beat up, which is really, really, really funny. And then apparently after the show's off air, he goes all match, fine. Off air, he takes a tack bump. By himself, no one hits him. He just falls into the tack. The hand's insane. The nails thing legitimately skeeved me out because I don't care what they are. I don't care what they're made of, because they're clearly not rubber, because if they're rubber, that you would be able to tell. So there's something enough where, like, if they're, I don't know if they're metal. I don't know if they're plastic. I don't care what they are. I don't care if they're solid rubber that doesn't bend. As long as it doesn't bend, that skeeves me out, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, the I don't know if it's the physics, but there is a science to the bed of nails. They do have to be a certain length apart from each other in succession, right? And as long as your weight's distributed evenly across them, you know, you can lay on a bed of nails.
I get that, but like, you're in a match.
No, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. Can I tell you the worst part of the bed of nails was when Kenny gets thrown into him in the corner? That didn't bother me. What bothered me is when it then fell onto him and scraped his arm on the way down and then hit his ankle.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh God, that was worse than anything else they could have done with the bed of nails for me. As far as your Coda point, and then I obviously want to get Joe's take on this. I almost feel like, well, first of all, coming down to the ring slow, I get that. He was also, you could tell, soaking in the response, because the response was huge. I wonder if this was maybe, I don't know if it was maybe the best place to bring him in for the first time because it's such a hard match. There's so much going on. It's like, where do you go? What do you do? You know, everybody's already been going for an hour and you're coming in now. I wonder how hard that is. I obviously don't know. I'm not a professional wrestler, but I did love towards the end when everybody on his team is getting choked out. Kota Ibushi just literally walking up to people and kicking them in the face was one of my favorite parts.
He looked good there.
It was just so funny. He was just cool and calm, just walked over, not even a run, just walked over and he was like, you kick in the face. You, I'm going to kick you in the face. And then Claudio, he was like,
he got Claudio. No, not Claudio. He got was it Mox?
Yes.
He got Mox.
Good. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And Mox,
what do you think, Joe?
Kenny got hit too good once across the face with a boot or an elbow from somebody. He could see he grabbed his mouth. I was like, oh, fuck. But yeah, Joe, what did you think of all this?
So the couple of things that maybe you haven't touched on already that I thought about when watching this was, I don't remember how Moxley, did Moxley make himself bleed? I don't remember ever seeing him
he was just bleeding all of us out of nowhere. No idea how it happened.
I'm like, did he just go in the corner and just take the fork to himself and just do it himself? But
damn it, just
yeah.
go.
And also, I couldn't understand, they're bringing forks in and chairs and tables and all these other weapons. And I'm like, why aren't the faces bringing in anything? I get you're a face, but, bring something, a spoon, a knife.
Right. Pipe.
So, Matt Jackson on top of the cage pouring in the thumbtacks was a cool spot.
That was nice.
I've never seen that. Have you guys seen anything like that?
No, that was different.
No, that was nice. But I'm with everyone's thought about Ibushi and how it just didn't feel, the timing just felt off with a lot of his moves. I don't know if it was him having rust, him not being familiar with some of the people he was working with as much. I think they probably could have had him come in maybe a week or two ahead of time and maybe do some singles matches or tag matches or trios matches, because I feel like everyone kind of knew he was going to be their fifth person anyway. So I don't think he had to save his debut for this overly booked match. So
yeah, it's a tough spot, right? Because you want there to be a surprise, but if this is the first time you're back in front of a big crowd for the first time in, months, there's got to be some nerves. There's got to be some rust, something, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. I didn't think he looked great tonight, but I also think it's a tough spot to be put into. You're the 10th in out of 10, it's
in an hour-long match.
In a cage.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah.
Also, one LT photo bringing up a good point. The chants. First, we want tables, and then we want fire. My God.
And I did love the we want tables, and then they grabbed tables, and Shivani was like, well, you've asked for it, and there you go. Listen, these matches are what they are, right? They're meant to be violent. They're meant to be like a car crash, and that's fine. I will certainly take one of these matches any day of the week over a death match where it's just violence for violence sake, right? I never like those fucking light tube death matches because it's just we're just picking up light tubes and smashing each other. There's no rhyme or reason. We're just doing it to do it. You know what I mean? They're sort of doing the same thing tonight, but it's sort of in a logical sense, right? Things escalate in a way that you need them to escalate. Don't disagree with you, Joe. We certainly should have faces coming out to even up the odds with weapons if that's what the other team is doing.
No one brought a knife. What the hell?
Well, this is the other thing is it's one of those arguments. It's they had those matches in the early aughts or late 90s where it was a shopping cart match. Anything you can put in a shopping cart is fair game. Why doesn't somebody just put a rifle in there? Why not a handgun? Why not a grenade? Match is over.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what happens to like the BCC as far as is this Moxley showing weakness? Is he conflicted with all the things that Eddie talked to him about him not being himself with the group? With Claudio going off and doing his own thing with, if he has a feud with Pac, maybe him and Wheeler do something with Pac and Takeshita. So I'm curious to see what that group where they move on to from this feud.
Well, and that's. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Schlong. Go ahead.
I said I think they protected the BCC because they had 2 of their members leave.
Mm-hmm.
You also open up 2 potential feuds. Whoever ends up in the Callis family, and you have Death Triangle you could bring back and have them feud. So you open up 2 different possibilities with BCC, and you could get a more, as crazy as it sounds, as an even more aggressive BCC being like, we should never have trusted outsiders. We should only trust ourselves.
Yeah.
Our mistake was trusting someone else. Like that is there's some story here where Yuta doesn't end up getting kicked out, where like they don't fall apart, where instead they get tighter and have 1 or 2 really good feuds out of this.
Yeah, I was actually going to say I agree there with what you said, Ryan, because they certainly set up the BCC for some feuds tonight. I mean, you set them up with Pac, right? And Claudio can sort of do a solo thing with Pac, but it's still BCC versus Pac. It also can open up. It also can open up Pac to maybe being desirable for, the Callis family. Although Pac now has a record of sort of being unhinged to the point where you can't necessarily, you don't know what you're going to get out of Pac. He can love you one day, hate you the next, because all he wanted was revenge tonight, and he was getting it. And then him and Claudio couldn't coexist. So an interesting twist. But then too, with Takeshita leaving, as Ryan kind of said, was you have the Callis family looming in the background. We don't know what's going on with Jericho. Callis said there's going to be more members. It'll be revealed soon. You can do a BCC Don Callis family thing. It doesn't have to be a face versus a heel. It could be heels versus heels and just be very violent. So there are a couple of ways they can go with that. I think the Golden Elite is done with the BCC. I don't think this comes back to them. I think this goes on to somebody else. So we'll see. But the other thing too is, don't forget, Danielson's out there. He's just on the shelf. We have an update on him in news and notes. But, Danielson's not done with the BCC. I don't think other people are going to be done with the BCC. I would go with Ryan and sort of say they become a tighter, harder edged group rather than sort of breaking it up. But you never know. I don't know. So overall thoughts on Dynamite tonight, gentlemen. Joe, what'd you think? Dynamite live up to the hype, Blood and Guts?
It probably maybe didn't live up to the hype I had for it, but I think a good 7 3/4, 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay. Schlong, did it live up to the hype?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very fun match. I liked the whole night. Yeah, it lived up to the hype for me.
Yeah, I thought the night was good too. And again, we sort of have to have them start building stories because we've got to get to All In, All Out, right? So All In could be something completely different because they're going to the UK. So you figure they're probably going to want to work with some UK talent. So we've got to start getting things there. But we've also got to get to All Out. All Out is the end game for the next pay-per-view. So we'll see, but I expect them. That's sort of maybe what they started building tonight with some of the things coming out of Blood and Guts and the Don Callis family and Jericho and the JAS. So a lot more to come. But for now, a few news and notes on things that happened randomly over the past week in the world of AEW. So obviously last week we saw Nick Wayne debut with Swerve on television. We also saw Nick Wayne tonight. It did come out last week after Dynamite. Nick Wayne is officially graphicked. he is all elite. Now, we knew that they had a contract with him, like a developmental contract when he was younger, because he wasn't able to work. But it is now official. Tony Khan did put it out. He said, "What a great debut tonight on Wednesday Night Dynamite." And now it's official. Nick Wayne is all elite. So congratulations to Nick Wayne. I didn't think we were going to see anything different, but it is graphic official now. The other thing we saw happen over the past week is that Roosh is going to be back in AAA at least for one show. It's going to be Triple Mania. What is this? 31 in Tijuana. So he was previously scheduled to tag with LA Park and against Psycho Clown and Sam Adonis in the Guerra de Rivalidades tournament final. Basically that was the plan. And then Roosh announced that he had pulled out to become a free agent in Mexico, but Roosh did put out a video proclaiming that he will honor the date and show up for that match. So Roosh will be showing at AAA Triple Mania. So for anybody who's going to be watching, get excited. Gentlemen, I'm sure you've all seen the news about the banned moves that came out last week in AEW. So Fightful did put out a report saying that there was a document that went out outlining a list of moves that are banned or require approval from decision makers above. So the list of moves that require approval from above is broader, including things like bumps on the ring apron or outside of the ring, any spot with tables, ladders, or chairs, all variations of pile drivers, hurricane ranas, and sit-down drivers, using weapons and throwing objects, choking with hands or weapons, high-risk dives and top rope moves, bleeding on purpose, injury spots, any spots or brawling in the crowd, and any spots involving non-wrestlers like referees and managers. Some of the other things that were sort of noted were chair shots to the head, strikes to the back of the head, blind moves backward into the turnbuckle like a buckle bomb, spitting and selling like someone is having a seizure. Also prohibited were physical contact with the crowd, including taking food or drinks from fans in attendance, and weapons and projectiles in the crowd are certainly a no-no, as well as bleeding in the audience. Now, more came out sort of after the initial report from some people inside saying, listen, we were already sort of putting these things into practice. It was sort of like an unofficial thing that we were doing, but now it is official with this document sort of going out. Gentlemen, personally, I don't have a problem with much of this. A lot of these guys also said that you won't really recognize a difference because they're already sort of doing this. I will say, though, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I will say there were certainly moments in tonight's Blood and Guts where I'm like, that could have been a chair shot to the head, and they certainly did not do it. So I don't know.
Moves aren't also banned. Most of those moves aren't banned. They're just, they have to be talked about with the coach.
Right.
That's
yeah.
fine. Because not only is it a safety thing, it just prevents the same moves from happening match after match. So not a bad thing.
Sure. And I certainly don't have a problem with like spitting into the crowd or taking stuff from fans, right? They've gotten sort of some heat for that with obviously MJF taking somebody's drink and pouring it on a kid, or taking their popcorn and dumping it. So I don't necessarily have a problem with this. It doesn't seem like anything out of the ordinary. It seems to be happening sort of everywhere. Gentlemen, in news involving Ring of Honor, Mark Briscoe, it's really known now that Mark Briscoe was set to challenge Claudio for the championship at Death Before Dishonor, but Briscoe did suffer an injury and was pulled from the bout. So Mark Briscoe is not cleared to wrestle. So he's going to be recovering, and Cesaro is going to, be facing somebody. We didn't know who it was going to be. We still don't really know who it's going to be, but based on tonight in Blood and Guts, my money is probably on Pac to challenge for that title on Friday night. If that's the case, that should be a really fun match.
Yeah, it should be fun.
There's also some other news on Mark Briscoe we'll get to here as I get to it. Guys, did you know that Don Callis was jumped in a triple Mania angle with Kenny Omega?
I did. He got legitimately beat up.
He did. So Omega and Vikingo faced off in the main event of Triple Mania 31 in Tijuana. And Vikingo retained the championship. Omega lost clean. So that's of some note too. But basically, Callis was attacked by a fan who was upset about what Don said to Kenny and jumped him from behind, ripped his suit. They said initially concussed his eardrum and busted open his mouth while he was trying to choke out Don from behind. Callis was reported to be livid and headed to San Diego for medical treatment on an injured neck and ankle. That coming from the Wrestling Observer. And it was not a work. So, boy, you always wonder what people think. Like, could you guys ever see yourself getting that livid or really believing this shit that much that you would jump somebody? I don't understand.
Absolutely not. I don't get angry at any of this shit. It's wrestling. It's a TV show.
Wild. Also, Ray Phoenix vacated 2 AAA championships, the AAA World Cruiserweight Championship and the AAA Latin American Championship. He got those both at Triple Mania 30, Chapter 2 in 2022, and he has relinquished the gold. He explained that international commitments have complicated his ability to maintain a rhythm of work for AAA. He said it's very important to leave a legacy for his career, and AAA has so much young talent that can carry those titles to build their own legacies. So leaving Lucha Libre in Mexico is a difficult decision because that's where the dream was born and his journey began, but it is a necessary decision. So he's not saying goodbye to AAA, but he'll see you later, and he has relinquished those titles. Probably a good move for Phoenix. I'd like to see him more on U.S. television. And he's also got a match on Friday night for Death Before Dishonor. Did you guys hear about the international show that was Super Show that was supposed to take place that is now not happening? So it was announced that sorry, I'm trying to find my note here. House of Wrestling had put out a statement from Global Pro Wrestling Summit team that was scheduled to have a Super Show in September. And they have now canceled that event in the interest of protecting consumers from fraud. So the statement said that we regret to announce that Global Pro Wrestling Summit will not be going forward as scheduled for Pais Arena in Jerusalem on September 14th, 2023. The promoter, All Stars Israel Stage Time, is in breach of contract on numerous fronts, inclusive of not delivering deposits to talent as stipulated in the contracts, and has been duly notified, that the contracted talent, which includes all non-Israeli talent being advertised for the event, will not be appearing. This promoter has been advised to pull all advertisements/promotions containing talent from all platforms and to cease selling tickets immediately in connection with the advertisement and promotion of the event for any of these talents. So for those maybe who didn't know, I believe Sting was supposed to be part of this event and a couple other notables, but just shows you it's sort of buyer beware. Be very careful about some of these Super Show events that are taking place all over. Because I'm almost to the point of saying if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, did Fire Festival not teach us anything?
Seriously. That water's not getting there by, normal means. Be very careful. More AAA 31 news. QT Marshall got hardcore in an ambulance match in a victory over Pentagon Jr., if you guys didn't know. He came in true heel fashion, decked out in USA flag gear, flanked by Aaron Solo, who was involved early in the match, and then he was ejected. But there were chains, baking sheets, handcuffs, thumbtacks, and light tubes. QT took, was swinging light tubes at Penta's head. At the end of the match, though, everybody was bloody, and QT Marshall came out victorious. So good for QT Marshall, going into enemy territory and getting one win for the US of A. Triple Mania is wild. If you guys have never watched Triple Mania, it's a trip. You guys should give it a try once in a while. Let's see. And I think, I got two more things real quick. As we are sort of building into not Blood and Guts. Well, yeah, Blood and Guts, and also the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Tony Khan did some media calls on July 18th. So there are obviously a lot of reports going on with them expanding their programming with Warner Brothers Discovery, the band moves. So he touched on a number of those items during the call. And just to touch you up on some of the bullets, there was a women's Blood and Guts match that was discussed to take place this year. That's where we all thought it was going with, I think, the Outcasts as well as the Homegrown. But it was likely to involve Jamie Hayter. Injuries within the women's division, including Hayter's, really ended the discussions around this happening. So it's a bummer because I think we all wanted to see a women's Blood and Guts. I think we're going to get there. If they were talking about it, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of everybody being in the right place at the right time. Details on how fans are going to be able to watch All In will be released soon. He said, in quote, due time and soon. It's going to take place at Wembley. Obviously, it's going to air prime time in the UK and in the afternoon in the US. So more news to come. You'll be able to see it. There have been a lot of reports out there saying there might be some bundle packages or things you can order through Fight TV. More to come soon. TK did downplay the band moves document, saying that it was always informally, sort of in the works. We already talked about that. But, exceptions are a case-by-case basis, and that if there is a request from someone like a Kenny Omega or somebody else at that sort of level, those requests take more weight than maybe people who aren't as seasoned as others. He was also asked about rumors of Warner Brothers Discovery requesting an expanded pay-per-view schedule. TK confirmed those discussions have, in fact, taken place. He said he is happy with the current model, but it's something that everyone believes could be revenue positive. He also said that he believes, quote, no wrestling company that has ever expanded its pay-per-view calendar due to demand and economics has ever regretted that decision. So it sounds like that might eventually happen, but no firm details there.
I'll take more pay-per-views if that means less Battle of the Belts.
I agree 100%.
Like
it won't.
Yeah, but I mean, dreamer's gonna dream, right? Let's see. Strong ratings for the Battle of the Belts this past Saturday were asked about TK whether he would do a 3-hour Dynamite. Khan said it was a, quote, interesting question, and he sort of talked about the ways that they're using their 5 to 6 hours a week of television time, but he didn't really get into specifics of whether that would ever really happen or not, or if that's been discussed. Bryan Danielson's injury came up, and he did say it's worse than they initially believed. There is no timetable for his return. Danielson does want to come back as soon as possible, but he hasn't been to shows or meetings since the Forbidden Door. But he is in frequent contact with Tony Khan to discuss different ideas. Danielson also put something out on social with a picture, the X-ray before and after the surgery. He had surgery on that broken forearm. I believe he said he had a plate and 9 screws put into his arm. And he also has a picture of the gnarly scar down his arm. So if you'd like to look for that, it's out there. But hopefully his recovery goes well and he's back sooner rather than later, because that's a bummer, especially because he got injured doing something that he always does and he was just out of position. TK did acknowledge criticism of how late the Death Before Dishonor card has come together, and he said it's one of the more difficult shows he's ever had to book. He didn't admit that Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli was initially going to be the main event, but he did talk about the issues that they've had with Kingston working New Japan's G1 Climax tournament. Even so, he thinks it's going to be great for Eddie, and once he returns, great for AEW and Ring of Honor. I guess some more visibility for Eddie around the world. We'll get more eyeballs on the product. Again, expanding on something we discussed about Mark Briscoe. TK said that Briscoe was apparently much more injured than he'd let anyone know, and AEW doctors were really surprised by the extent of the injuries, which were even said to be affecting Mark's quality of life. So several pre-tape segments were scrapped when Briscoe was pulled, so they had a bunch of stuff in the can, and Claudio's new opponent will be announced this week, unless they're going to do some sort of surprise challenger angle. Again, I think we all sort of see the writing on the wall. It's going to be probably Pac. And he did want to announce that we'd get Willow Nightingale versus Athena sooner, but because of the Owen Hart tournament, they couldn't do that. So that's why we didn't necessarily get the promotion going to this a lot sooner. Take that for what you will, but that's a lot of stuff from Cowboy TK's mouth. Howdy. Last thing we had here, speaking of Eddie Kingston, Eddie, unfortunately, is done with the G1 Climax tournament. On July 18th, let me see. Sorry, I'm losing my track of my dates here. Let's see. We did get in the A block. Kaito Kiyomiya defeating Chase Owens, Gabe Kidd defeating Hikuleo, Ren Narita versus Yota Tsuji ended in a time limit draw, and then Sonata defeated Shuta Umino. Kenta defeated in the B block. Kenta defeated Great Khan. Taichi defeated Tangaloa. Will Ospreay defeated Yoshihashi, and Okada defeated El Phantasmo. So, for those who are following along, I don't think there's any surprises there. But in the C block of the tournament from ZBO Arena, Finlay defeated Mikey Nichols. Evil defeated Eddie Kingston, thus ending Kingston's run in the tournament. So maybe we're going to see him back on AEW/Ring of Honor TV sooner rather than later. Hanare defeated Shingo Takagi. Tama Tonga defeated Big Tom Ishii. In the D block, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Toru Yano. Jeff Cobb defeated Alex Coughlin. Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Shane Haste. And Tetsuya Naito defeated Haruki Goto. So the tournament continues on. Eddie Kingston, a hell of a run, but it is over. Asian Joe, does it hurt you as much as it would hurt Kate that Eddie's out of this?
No, we should all be happy that Eddie climaxed.
Very true.
I mean,
earlier than we would have expected, and maybe he would have expected. But that's a common problem from what I hear.
He got there, though.
Yes. He did get there. Guys, that's it. No more news and notes. We're done. But a lot of stuff happening over the past week. Obviously, we have Death Before Dishonor on Friday night. There's a Rampage on Friday night. I will be watching Death Before Dishonor, not Rampage. Saturday, we've got a Collision. The Mark Order podcast will be in the house. So if you're going to be there, certainly let us know. Maybe I'll have some stickers on me to give away if you're there in person. So if you're going to be in Newark for the show, hit us up, let us know. We will be there in attendance. Ryan, do you know, I don't know if I told you, do you know who we're sitting next to?
No.
The Good Doctor.
Oh, good.
He got tickets and I was able to find the tickets right next to his. So the good
Excellent.
doctor. And then obviously we'll be back here next week to talk about Dynamite and the fallout, I guess, from Blood and Guts. So we'll see where we're going with some of these stories. But it's shaping up to be a pretty good show. So let's pull this train into the station. Asian Joe, thank you for coming back for week 2. Let's have you lead off the plugs. Tell people where they can find you, follow you, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me again on back-to-back weeks. I didn't think it was going to be that soon, so I appreciate it. On Instagram, Twitter, most of all those socials, you can find me at @_Asian Joe. And then in my bios of those, you can find a link to my passion project that is my serial review blog. So feel free to peruse that at your leisure.
Excellent. Make sure you guys are out there following Asian Joe and supporting his passion projects, because Asian Joe rules, and we love having him here. And he's one of the good ones who is usually hanging out in the chat. So go follow him and support him. Partner Ryan, why don't you tell the people where they can follow you and what you're up to?
I'm on the prairie most days, but when I'm not on the prairie, you can find me here, obviously every Wednesday, and on our social, mostly Twitter, @MarkOrderPod. But then you can also find my history blog, hereforhistory.com, or on Twitter, _hereforhistory.
And again, make sure you support Ryan in his passion project endeavors. Ryan is very passionate. If you missed it last week, very passionate about history. And I'm not even joking. I'm not going to say he's whitewashing anything. Read between the lines. But check out his history blog for real. In all seriousness, Ryan loves history, and I know he's putting 120% into it. So if you're doing Steiner math, which maybe isn't a thing you want to do anymore because there's a lot of heat on the Steiners, just go check it out because it all works out. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter @AntMoney. I tweet every now and again. Instagram @AntMoney 24/7. But more importantly, check out @MarkOrderPod on all your socials for anything we've got going on. I'm sure we'll have some pictures up from Collision on Saturday. Maybe some pictures of something we might be up to tomorrow, depending on what might happen. So make sure you're following us @MarkOrderPod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, all those places. And if you're following us on one of those socials, go to the link tree. You can find all the socials. You guys might not think it means a lot to us, but it does. And it helps us out greatly if you can follow us, subscribe, like us, whatever on the social platforms. It certainly does help us out. So if you could take a few minutes to do those things, we greatly appreciate it. If not, that's cool too. For those of you watching along on YouTube, thank you so much for watching us live tonight. My pal Jesse Ozog, Sloanamite, Rob Humphrey, Scott George, Marky Mark Kayfabe, Gordon Post, Kyle K. Sparks, 1LT Photo. Sloanamite was in here before. I think I said Sloanamite. Pro Wrestling Podcast. A whole bunch of people that I can't scroll all the way back through because there's so much chatter going back and forth. And we think that's awesome. So thank you for watching along live. And thank you to those of you who are listening in podcast form later. If you are listening in podcast form, we ask, it greatly helps us there too. If you can subscribe, like, rate, review, all those things help us out in the podcast forms. If you've never tried watching us on YouTube, you can go over to YouTube and watch all of these on video. Ryan's put on his cowboy hat tonight. Asian Joe's changed his hats. We show what's in the pro wrestling crate and all that kind of stuff that we talk about here. So give us a chance on YouTube, even if it's not in real time. But if you're doing the YouTube with us, it helps us too if you subscribe there a lot. So we appreciate if you take a few minutes to do that as well. Anybody who wants to help spend some hard-earned money on us, you can head over to our Pro Wrestling Tees store. There is a link directly in the link tree, but you can always head over to prowrestlingtees.com/MarkOrderPod or search Mark Order Podcast on Pro Wrestling Tees. Our store will pop up. It looks just like this. there are 4 shirts that you can purchase, 2 front prints, 2 double-sided prints. I personally like the 2 mics double-sided print with the chest logo on the front and the full back print. But that's just me. Any money you spend there, some of it comes directly back to us, so we can put it into doing things for this show, like some of the production, getting gear we might need for some of the folks, getting the subscriptions to everything we need to that have yearly subscriptions to put on our wonderful show. So anything you could do to help us there is certainly appreciated. And thank you in advance. And thank you to everybody who's already bought a t-shirt. So thank you all. The only other thing I'll say is stay tuned to our socials. We know Death Before Dishonor is on Friday. We might do something for that. We might not. We didn't get to do a bonus show this Saturday night because we were all double booked with other stuff. But who knows? Death Before Dishonor, that might be able to happen. So stay tuned to our socials. We'll put it out there if we're going to do anything. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. Again, gentlemen, thank you so much for a wonderful night. Ryan, thank you as always. Asian Joe, thank you for coming back to back. We appreciate it. We love having you on. The fans do too. They're going wild. High praise. High praise, Joe. So we will see you all back here next week for another episode of the Mark Order Podcast. Thank you for listening. And we will see you next week here on the Shining Wizards Network.
This concludes the Mark Order Podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Join the Mark Order.